Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host. The y'all mean of revolution, and what type of World War III deep state games is being played here? The assassination plot to take out Trump and blame Iran. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button, like, share, subscribe, support the platform. We got to listen to this foolishness, and then we're gonna hear Iran come out and say they're lying on them. They have nothing to do with any plot to assassinate Trump.
Now to the new president-elect. This morning, we are learning more about an alleged Iranian plot to assassinate President Trump before the election. ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the latest now.
This morning, the new Iranian revenge plot to kill Donald Trump in the weeks before he was elected as the 47th president. The FBI says Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard Corps assigned one of the plotters in mid to late September to focus on surveilling and ultimately assassinating former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. On October 7th, court records say the operative, Farhad Shakiri, was told to provide a plan within 7 days to kill Trump, and if he couldn't, to wait until after the election, because the Iranians assessed that Trump would lose the election, and afterward it would be easier to assassinate him. Federal prosecutors say Iran has been determined to avenge the death of Revolutionary Guard General Qasem Soleimani, who was killed in an American drone strike during Trump's first term. The FBI learned of the latest plot from the very man asked to arrange it. The criminal complaint says Shakiri spoke voluntarily from Tehran.
I received a phone call from the FBI
telling the FBI he was first instructed to target Iranian-American writer and activist Mahsa Ahmadinejad. Prosecutors said he recruited 2 Americans he met in a New York prison to assist. Tonight, those men are under arrest and in custody. The complaint says Iran also told Shakiri to kill 2 people described as Jewish business people residing in New York City because of their support for Israel. Then he was told to put aside his other efforts and focus on Trump. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
Federal prosecutor announced that they have filed charges in a plot to kill now President-elect Donald Trump. The alleged hit was supposed to happen before Tuesday, and prosecutors say Iran was behind it. Farhad Shakiri is an Afghan national still at large tonight in Iran. The Justice Department says that Iranian officials asked him to focus on watching and ultimately killing Donald Trump. My source tonight was Donald Trump's national security advisor, and before that, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador John Bolton. It's great to have you here. When you hear this news of an alleged plot to assassinate Donald Trump, as someone who has also been targeted, I wonder what your level of concern is about an Iranian attack like this happening on U.S. soil.
Well, I think it's a very major concern. I think this latest set of criminal charges just expands the information that's now publicly available. There are a lot of current and former U.S. government officials who have been subject to this Iranian activity. A lot of ordinary American citizens, Mahsa Ahmadinejad among others, who are simply voicing their disapproval of the Iranian regime. And I have to say, a lot of other people who are in the range of the Iranian effort, who are being harassed and surveilled. Their names are not public, and they shouldn't be. But this is a large effort by the world's biggest state sponsor of terrorism. This is not computer chatter. This is not speculation. This is not some guy locked in a basement ranting dementedly on the internet. This is a clearly well-organized state effort by Iran. And it includes targets not just in the United States, but in Europe too. And I think the real question as a matter of public policy, whether it's Iran or anybody else, is whether we simply treat this as a law enforcement matter, or we treat the very effort to go after Americans, whether they're successful or not in eliminating them, whether we treat the effort itself as an act of war.
Yeah. Well, and that's a question, of course, how Trump will handle it. Obviously, Iran has seen how Trump was towards them in his first term. We'll see what that looks like in the second term. And speaking of just foreign policy itself, these details that we're learning tonight about this call Trump had with President Zelensky that Elon Musk was on. As someone who served as the national security advisor, for people who don't know, typically the national security advisor is on these calls with world leaders. What is your take on Elon Musk being on that call yesterday?
Well, it's my first reaction when I heard it was, well, so what? What's unusual about having the vice president-elect sitting with the president-elect on a call? And then I realized, of course, Elon Musk wasn't the vice president-elect. This is really, I think, typical of Trump.
Yeah,
this
none of your
happened
business.
in the transition to his first term in 2016-17. Sort of bounds and norms are not Trump's strength, as we know. I wouldn't get too hyperthyroid about it too quickly, but it's certainly not a sign that order and stability have suddenly appeared at Mar-a-Lago, despite what everybody's talking about these early appointments. To me, it looks like the same chaotic, do what you want to do Donald Trump with his latest bright, shiny object, Elon Musk.
Well, and we've heard the chief of staff, that's who you're referencing there, Susie Wiles. We're waiting to hear what these other posts are going to be.
These same people beg Elon for his Starlink to help Ukraine. He's helping the Ukraine army fight the Russians. Elon Musk is. These people here is backstabbers. Oh, thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon, when he helped your war. But you don't want them sitting and talking to Trump about business. And remember, this bitter old fool was fired by Trump. He's a warmonger. He has millions of Iraqi blood on his deaths on his hand. He want more war with Iran. This clown right here. He don't give a damn about Trump, but he's here to talk about the Iranian assassination of Trump. That's disgusting.
You're someone who has served in every Republican administration since Ronald Reagan was in office. I think it's safe to say, I hate to break it to you, that your streak is about to come to an end. And I just wonder, where does Trump's win lead?
He served in every Republican administration, and they laughing that his streak about to come to an end. He laughing because he want Trump dead. He like, ha, 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 joke's on you. We're going to get somebody else in there. Trump keeping him out of power. This is the deep state right here. How disgusting is that CNN bring the deep state on to talk about the assassination of Trump? You think there's not a threat? But they think we stupid. Americans understand what y'all doing. Y'all give a damn about Trump being assassinated. They trying to put it into the Americans' minds. Iran is trying to assassinate Trump. Iran is trying to assassinate Trump. No, they're not. Y'all are.
More traditional Republicans, conservative voices like yours today.
Well, I think the battle goes on. I think the base of the Republican Party remains a Reaganite party on national security issues. We're going to see a lot of struggles over it in the coming months and years of this second and last Trump term. And I think events in the world are going to have a lot to say about it. A lot of the talk you hear from people like Vice President-elect Vance is glib and superficial. I don't think they've ever confronted the real world in serious times. And I think they're going to do that because I think there are serious threats and challenges to the United States that are not susceptible to appealing political lines here at home. So it'll be an interesting struggle. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and Pence played a pretty big role in the foreign policy front with Trump in office, trying to be kind of this stabilizing force. I mean, what do you envision J.D. Vance's role, if any, in that situation will look like?
Well, I think Mike Pence had opinions, actually. He had experience from his career in Congress and did a lot for the country that has never become public, did it behind closed doors with President Trump. I don't know that Vance has fixed views on national security. He had fixed views on Trump up until he reversed them in order to get Trump's endorsement for the Senate in 2022, and very successfully. I have to admire it as a marketing technique. And then he got himself made vice president. So I'm not sure he's going to go out originally, but I think he will try and figure out where Trump is and maybe get there first. That's not what Mike Pence did. Mike Pence gave Trump his own honest opinion. Trump made up his mind. He's the president.
I remember when you were about to get the job as national security advisor, we'd see you coming down the driveway going into the front entrance of the West Wing when you were interviewing to become the national security advisor. While this hiring process is going on right now, can you just take us inside what those
Iran has denied claims that it was behind an alleged plot to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. That comes after the U.S. Justice Department charged an Iranian national in connection with the plan. But Tehran says the accusations are baseless.
The spokesperson Esmail Baghai categorically dismissed allegations that Iran was involved in attempts to assassinate former and current U.S. officials and described the claims as completely baseless and rejected. He emphasized that repeating such claims at this juncture is a malicious conspiracy orchestrated by Zionist and anti-Iranian circles, aimed at further complicating the issues between the U.S. and Iran.
Well, let's head on over to Tehran now and speak to RT's Yusuf Jalali. So, Yusuf, I mean, Trump's not even in office and already making some pretty strong international waves, but that is a serious allegation being made by Washington. What do we know at this stage? What's been said?
Well, of course, Iran does not have good memories from Trump in his first term. It says it has no intention to assassinate him. The foreign ministry spokesman, Esmail Baghai, made three issues clear. First, he said Iran was not behind the recent attempts to kill Donald Trump. And second, he said that similar accusations have been made in the past against Iran, which Tehran has firmly denied and, quote, proven false. And third, he said he blamed such claims on Israel, saying that repeating such allegations at this critical juncture, quote, is a malicious conspiracy orchestrated by Israel and anti-Iran circles. And what's the reason? He said it's aimed at further complicating the issues between Washington and Tehran. Tehran's statement, of course, comes after three people have been charged in a series of alleged Iran-linked murder plots, with one of them accused of trying to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump, and others targeting an Iranian-American activist and two Jewish Americans living in New York. That's according to a criminal complaint unsealed Friday in New York.
There are few actors in the world that pose as grave a threat to the national security of the United States as does Iran. The Justice Department has charged an asset of the Iranian regime, who is tasked by the regime to direct a network of criminal associates to further Iran's assassination plots against its targets, including President-elect Donald Trump.
One of those people, of course, his name is Farhad Shakeri, identified by the FBI as an asset of Iran's Islamic Revolution Guards Corps, the IRGC. He's suspected to be in Tehran. The complaint alleges that the IRGC...
Revolutionary salute, y'all. President Bosch, go for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is real life. Absolutely appreciate the love. We say salute, King. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate the love.
Instructed him to surveil and target Trump as retaliation for the killing of Qasem Soleimani, the former commander of the IRGC Quds Force, which is in charge of external operations by the IRGC. Of course, now Shakeri was reportedly tasked by the IRGC to carry out also other assassination plots against U.S. and Israeli individuals within the United States, including targeting...
After killing of the great General Soleimani, a legendary warrior who defeated ISIS. The assassination of Soleimani was wrong. Trump was wrong. The U.S. government was wrong. You can't just be assassinating the second man in power and then think you might not get hit yourself. But the CIA and the U.S. government is trying to assassinate Trump, not the Iranians.
Trump, in a previous statement during a rally in September, Trump said that Iran was actively aiming to target him and issued threats of retaliation with bombs against Tehran.
If I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that. And there would be no more threats. There would be no more threats.
Of course, those remarks came as Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian was back then attending the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Back then, Iran said those allegations are clearly part of the U.S. election climate and serve specific political goals, making them, quote, unworthy of a response. Right after Trump won the 2024 election, Iran called his victory an opportunity for the United States to reassess past wrong policies. Of course, during his first term, Trump left two dark memories for Iran. The first is his withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal as part of his so-called maximum pressure campaign against Tehran. And the second, and perhaps most important, is the killing and the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani. His assassination took place on direct order from Donald Trump back in January 2020. And of course, back then, Iran vowed revenge. But the country has never officially mentioned that it would assassinate Trump or for this incident. But Tehran has said that Trump must be arrested and be brought to justice. So it remains to be seen what more will surface out of this new case.
Certainly, the next couple of months and years will be very interesting to see how it develops under Donald Trump vis-a-vis Iran. That was our RT correspondent.
Okay, so we have that piece of false flag that they running, and this is the most disgusting thing that the Democrats can do. You know, to send racist emails all across the country. I told y'all the Democrats are stupid to anything to scare the hell out of black people. So all of a sudden, Trump won the election, and now all across the country, black people are receiving racist emails talking about they finna start picking cotton. And they want to pretend like, see, we told you what would happen if a racist like Trump got in power. This is the Democrats.
The FBI is investigating reports of a wave of racist text messages hitting black people's phones in multiple states. These messages are being reported in at least 8 states, and many of the targets appear to be middle school, high school, and college-age students. All of the messages following a pattern, sharing similar language, including racist rhetoric, that they had been, quote, selected to pick cotton. CNN's Gabe Cohen has the details. He's joining us right now. Tell us more of what you're learning about what they're doing about this, Gabe.
Well, Kate, first off, it looks like this is more widespread than we had expected, with people in at least 24 states now having reported receiving these messages.
24 states, y'all.
Are not
24 states, y'all. Huh? Dozens. Black people are receiving racist text messages saying, get in the fields, nigga, you are picking cotton. Welcome to the slavery. This is so crazy, bro. Welcome to slavery up under Trump. And you think this is the Republicans? You think this is the Republicans? It go to show you how hateful the Democrats really is, that they got the audacity to scare the hell out of black people. Like, okay, nigga, you wanted Trump? They'll put your ass back in slavery now.
Not just upsetting, but they are alarming. They are
We know who's doing this.
And many of them specifically target black and brown individuals, some of them students, some of them children. I want to show you one of the texts. It was sent to us by a woman in New Jersey. The text has her name written at the top of it, as you can see right there. And it references picking cotton. It references slave catchers and plantations. And some of...
So the Republicans, let me get this right. The Republicans won the election landslide. Mexicans voted for him. The youth voted for him. Black men rose up. Black women rose up with them, voted for Trump. It wasn't even close. So they have it their way, and they decide why they winning. Oh, yeah, let's send racist text messages to blacks and Mexicans saying, nigga, you're in the cotton field. You're getting deported, not. Man, get out of here.
Some of the messages specifically reference President-elect Trump. Now, to be clear, the Trump campaign has told several media outlets that they had absolutely nothing to do with this. But as you can imagine, many people are really on edge in these days since the election. I want to play for you what a Colorado mother said after her 16-year-old son got one of these texts. Take a listen.
It's very tense. It's very scary for a lot of individuals.
Yeah, she voted for Kamala.
The fact that it happened the day after, Election Day, it really speaks to what I think is going on here.
And the president of the NAACP put out a statement saying these messages represent an alarming.
You know what? I want to know if these same people, if they was Kamala, so if these are Democrats scaring the hell out of Democrats. I didn't get no text message. Did any of y'all? Why did racists didn't text me? Why didn't they text me and tell me get back into I'm getting in the field? Who got these emails? This is disgusting. Same people they polled and talked to. See? That lady is a Kamala supporter, and her son got a racist text message. Yeah, ma'am. Where were you? Where were you when the text message was sent, Kamala supporter?
Alarming increase in vile and abhorrent rhetoric from racist groups across the country now feel emboldened to spread hate and stoke the flames of fear that many of us are feeling after Tuesday's election results. And Sarah, their investigations.
Okay, NAACP, what you gonna do about it? Say the Confederates rising up. They feel emboldened. They want blacks back in the fields. Y'all niggas running to the news. NAACP, they ain't said, get the guns, protect your family. I have not heard NAACP leader, he writes CNN. So racist whites are saying they finna put blacks, I told y'all. Where's the 40,000 strong black men for Kamala? Where they at? The Ku Klux Klan is on the rise. Where's all the Greek freaks who was talking about we gonna protect the black women? Okay, the racists is talking about they finna lynch, they finna put them in the fields. Where y'all at? Man, see, they ain't gonna do shit but give CNN a quote.
All over the country at this point to figure out who is behind this. It does appear at least some of them, these messages, were sent out using a service called Text Now. It allows people to create phone numbers for free. That company, Text Now, tells us in a statement, we believe this is a widespread, coordinated attack, and we are now working alongside our industry partners to uncover more details and continue to monitor patterns to actively block any new accounts attempting to send these messages. And the FBI is also on this. They put out a statement saying that they're aware of the messages. And Sarah, they say they're in contact with the Justice Department and other federal authorities. So a lot of folks are on this right now, a lot of agencies. It's not clear, though, if they have it completely shut down at this point.
Gabe Cohen, thank you so much for your reporting there. Appreciate it.
The FBI is investigating a string of racist messages sent to Black Americans across the U.S. This is one of the disturbing texts, and I'm sorry we have to put this up on screens. It says, it reads, you have been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation.
You racist bastard. He said, I'm sorry I have to put this up. No, you're not. That's why I don't like the Democrats, because they racist at heart. This dude just said, I'm sorry, I got it. No, you're not. You didn't say mothers. This dude didn't give people a chance to get out the room. Why did he say, hold on, y'all might not want y'all kids to see this. We're going to blur it for a second until there's no kids in the room. He said, I'm sorry, I got to do this. Then he started reading it. Talking about, you will be picking cotton. You have been selected to pick cotton. Did you hear his voice? He liked saying that. And I told you, this is what I don't like about the racist ass Democrats. See, when the Ku Klux Klan rise up, they know they all right. See, is he okay with talking about picking cotton? This is what happened when you select Trump. You got to pick cotton, nigga. Goddamn. Okay, what's going to happen to you, white guy? Oh, I got to watch you pick cotton. That's my suffering I have to do. Oh, my goodness.
For the folks listening on the radio, I am reading quotes from this text and references executive slave catchers. Children and college students got messages like this. One mother in Houston said her daughter, who was in high school, received one as well. Let's listen to this.
She said it's a message that her and some of her
friends.
Oh,
she definitely voted for Kamala. You voted for Kamala, ma'am. You a sorority sister. Your phone in their database. They can even text you and your family. Quit putting Kamala supporters on TV talking about they got racist text messages. You a DNC donor. They got your number. I didn't get none. Nobody I know got none. Nobody. I wouldn't even know this if it wasn't for CNN. But all of a sudden, black people got all these messages. Who? You talking about Democratic supporters got racist text messages? Oh, man, y'all should be ashamed of yourself.
Received. And so I'm like, which friends? And so she said, all of my black friends. To have somebody threaten their lives or threaten their livelihood or threaten their family's livelihood it becomes uncomfortable. It should not be sent to any student, black, brown, blue.
So you run into the news? The Klan tell you ass to get in the fields, man. Why you ain't at a gun range? Why you ain't getting your gun license? Why you not going to get 3-4 guns, ammunition? Ma'am, is this the Ku Klux Klan threatens you? They text you. They say it's a second slave catcher. Your ass will report to the fields, and you report to the news. See? This is ridiculous. What the hell? I don't want to be around people like this, man. Get your ass onto the fields. Here she go. Who was looking for her? Because you ain't going to do shit. You got the warning and you run to the news. What a joke.
Purple, yellow, whatever.
A Canadian phone services company tells CNN that some of the racist messages were sent by accounts on their messaging app. The company says it has disabled those accounts. And to be clear, CNN does not have a clear answer of who sent these. That is still under investigation. But Talia Jones joins us now. She received this text we showed earlier. Talia, I mean, as we were just explaining a few minutes ago,
man, that lady voted for Trump. That lady voted for Kamala.
The eastern half of the United States, it appears, received these text messages. You got one as well. And some out west, you can see it there on screen. What was your reaction when you got this message on your phone?
My first reaction was kind of like shocked because
this lady voted for Kamala, man. This is a fucking, what type of scam is this? What type of scam is this? All these sorority sisters, you see, all these sorority sisters, they got threatening emails. This is disgusting, bro. Y'all would stoop this low. All of these Greek freak sorority sisters got threatening emails talking about showing for slavery. Y'all got us fucked up, man. What the hell kind of bullshit is CNN? And this the best y'all got? Man, come on, man. Okay, go ahead. This what y'all want to do.
Because, you know, when you see something, you're like, let me look again to make sure like I'm really seeing what I'm seeing. The kind of feeling I had. And then I immediately sent it to my mom and my sister in our group chat. And we were all just like, what is going on?
I immediately sent it to my mom and my sister. Lady, the Ku Klux Klan just said, report to the plantations. You didn't call the cops? You didn't call the FBI? Your mama, do she work for the FBI? Your sister, is she a detective? What the fuck is going on? The Confederates is rising up, man. You could have been the first one to get a warning. You could have saved us all, man. But because of your dereliction of duty towards the B1, you text your mama and all the sorority sisters, we could have been the goddamn chains. We didn't get the message. This is fucked up. We didn't get the message. You were blessed enough to get the message that slavery was back, and you text your mama and CNN? Disgusting.
Going on in the world. There's no way that it's 2024 and things like this are happening again. And it's just insane, like the level of disrespect that people have for other humans. It's crazy.
And I'm just wondering, Talia, I mean, what did it feel like? I had to think that it hurt. I mean, I have to think that it hurt when you got that message. What was going through your mind?
What does it feel like? This is hilarious shit. So we gonna have 4 years of we've been have 4 years of anonymous messages from the Klan promising us we're gonna pick out this. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me a minute, man. We're going to get 4 years of anonymous messages that's only going to go to the sororities, only going to the Greek freaks, promising us we're going back to the days of slavery now that Trump is in power. And CNN, I know it hurt. I know it hurt. But if you just could tell me, how do you feel knowing you about to pick cotton? Boy, CNN, I'm going to sue the hell out of y'all for demotion. I'm so scared. I just went loony. I'm laughing. I'm so scared.
How did it feel?
So terrified, it make me laugh.
So first it was shock, and then I think it was more anger than like sadness.
Wait, man.
Because it's just like, who do you think you are to send these out? It became sadness when I realized that young people were getting it, like elementary schoolers and middle schoolers, who a lot of them are oblivious to what's going on.
Y'all ain't going to prison for that. You going to prison, you accessory. Look at her. Middle schoolers. How you know who got it? How the hell you know who all got it? Who told you that? I don't know. Did they get it? Lady, are you in on this shit? And what is this 333 on your chest? Your ass is in. She got the worst lady. Yo is a devil in disguise, ma'am. Huh? You one of them women who promised a man ain't getting no kitty cat for 4 years. Didn't you say that on Instagram yesterday? Didn't you say you're going gay for 4 years, ma'am? I've been hearing it from your court. You're promising men ain't gonna get nothing. And we laughed at you and mocked you yesterday and said, so what? Who cares? And this is what y'all do the next day, send racist text messages and scare the hell out of kids. That's disgusting, ma'am. But your ass is an official suspect now, ma'am.
So innocent.
That's it.
And it's
Don't
like,
court
why would
figure your
you
ass is.
want to intentionally hurt somebody that you don't even know? So it was definitely like shock, anger, and sadness all in one.
Yeah, what do you think about the timing of all this? The president, CEO of the NAACP, released a statement saying, in part, the unfortunate reality of electing a president who historically has embraced and at times encouraged hate is unfolding before our eyes.
Look at this shoe shiner. The shoe shiner has released a statement from the NAACP. What? Boy, where are you? Are you at the shooting range? Huh? Have you warned us to get the guns because the Ku Klux Klan is on the rise? This is the best they got. Is he going to release a statement about hate and all this stuff? It's unfolded before our very eyes. What the hell are you talking about, man? Free Grandmaster J. Why did you arrest Grandmaster J? You see what happened when you, where's the NFA? See, we got to hit the streets. You see? You see what happened? We try to arrest and kill our leaders. The Ku Klux Klan might rise up, right?
This week, what do you think of the timing of this?
It was definitely strategically planned. I received the text at like 2 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah, we know it was strategically
not
planned.
Even a full 24 hours after we got the election results. So I feel like this was something that was definitely premeditated. They felt like the Republicans were going to win. Donald Trump was going to be elected into office again. So they were just ready to go. And it just really shows like we thought we came far from where we were hundreds of years ago, but honestly, we have not at all, clearly.
And do you know anybody else who got this message?
What? She got a text message talking about report to the plantation. Oh, we definitely ain't made it over 100 years. What? What the hell are you talking about, ma'am? What is your evidence? Don't tell me about no text messages, ma'am. Have you seen any Ku Klux Klan members, ma'am? Are they outside your house? Did you take a picture of a noose? Did they leave a noose at your front porch? Is this your evidence? What the hell are you talking about, man? You could have said that to your goddamn self. You were caught chasing. Are you lying, man? You look like you said this woman here looked like she could have been the start. This is the first person to get a message, and then the message just went out.
Personally, when I got on social media later that day, I saw that a lot of different people had gotten them, but nobody that I knew personally. But I did see that everybody who received the text was a person of color.
Nobody you knew personally, but it was people of color, right?
And what do you hope people take away from this? I mean, to me, I'm incredibly sad hearing about it. I know you were angry, but I'm just incredibly sad hearing about it. No,
you're not.
So what do
you look like when you
What
sad?
do you want people to think about this weekend after getting this kind of a text?
For the people that voted the way that they voted, I want them to recognize this is the person that you voted for. This is the type of people that back him, and it's insane because at the end of the day, we're all.
Lady, you act like Trump text you that. She act like she got a message from Donald Trump himself telling her to report to the fields. What the hell are you talking about? For people who voted the way they voted, this is what you get, ma'am. Once again, ma'am, the Democrats did that, ma'am. What the fuck you mean? You don't know no race. You don't even know if no racist Republican said that to you, ma'am. This is ridiculous what you're doing. You scaring your children. You are psychologically destroying the mind. You're the type of woman, you split from your man, you talk shit about that man when he ain't in that house and talking about he no good. You talk about they daddy and friend when when he ain't there. You, that type of person, run a man down. He don't make enough. You, disgusting, man. You just can't accept you lost. Now you stoop so low. I told him all y'all got is scare the hell out of black people. That's your one-trick pony. Scare the shit out of blacks. Maybe you get some votes. Man, that shit, we done with that, man. We through with that. Do what you said you're going to do. You said you're going to be gay for 4 years. Huh? You're your lesbian lover?
And I hope people take that. It's like we all bleed the same blood. Like there's nothing different between me and you, between a Black person, a white person, a Spanish person. It doesn't matter. And I just feel like people need to really take into account that at the end of the day, we're all humans, and what you do directly affects other people, and there will be consequences to those actions.
You're absolutely right about that. That is a great message.
You ain't said shit.
It means a lot to me that you said it.
You just like your hero, a bunch of fucking word salad. What the hell did you even say? You just like Skamala, man. What the hell did you even say?
Shared this story with us. Apparently, we're just hearing now in the last couple of minutes, Talia, that it's now up to 21 states. 21 states.
21
states
receive
these text messages.
21 states of people we don't know. We don't know none of these damn people. What are you talking about?
It's just awesome.
21 Democratic donor states.
It's crazy because you would think that, I don't know, I would think that immediately people would find out where it's coming from and shut it down. So the fact that it's still happening today, which is Friday, 48 hours later, is just crazy.
Yeah. What does it mean, ma'am? Mean ain't regular people doing it, ma'am. It means some type of government agency, ma'am. But you know a little something. You smart. You're into communications, ma'am. You disgusting. You text your mama and your sister to spread that false goddamn news and run your when got your hair did. Run your car chasing ass onto the motherfucking news, talking about just see what happens when you vote for this type of person, man. Please, man, woman, we don't not believe you, man. You a fucking scammer. And I bet you won't put that. I dare you to file charges and say they're happy. Your ass going to prison, nigga. Lying.
The Justice Department and the FBI, along with the FCC, have teamed up to investigate a series of vile and racist text messages that you can partially see here on your screen. The anonymous texts were sent to Black people in more than half a dozen states. Men, women, and even middle school students started receiving them shortly after the election. Let's bring in Rona Tarrant. She's an executive editor of CBS News Confirmed Team. That is a team that looks to work to understand misinformation and share what is correct out there. And they do all sorts of investigations and things just like this. So Rona, tell me a little bit more about these texts, where they came from, and who's been getting them.
So the FBI is saying that it's in touch with the Justice Department, but we're also hearing from middle schools, high schools, universities, and 2 attorneys general saying they're also looking into these text messages. So we know they're pretty widespread. Now, just from our own reporting yesterday, we identified people in more than half a dozen states who said they had received these messages. Now, they were all Black Americans. They reported receiving almost identical language in the text as well. And what we also know is that these messages, you know, they address people by name and also mention their locations.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story that is going viral involving Black people allegedly receiving racist text messages in which they were told that they've been selected to pick some cotton, right? They got to show up to a plantation in order to pick cotton, okay? And apparently these text messages are being sent to Black people across the country, young, old, whatever. A lot of them are young people being targeted. And these messages went out the day after the election. Now, we all know the results of the 2024 election. President Trump landslided Kamala Harris, okay? And now the mainstream liberal media, they're peddling this story, and they're taking the opportunity to blame Trump, right? They're trying to blame Trump for these racist text messages going out to Black people. Take a look.
The FBI is investigating reports of a wave of racist text messages hitting Black people's phones in multiple states. These messages are being reported in at least 8 states, and many of the targets appear to be middle school, high school, and college-age students. All of the messages following a pattern, sharing similar language.
They just did middle school, high school, and they're targeting the up-and-coming voter block. They're thinking ahead. They're thinking about the next election. They finna scare the hell out the youth who might be voting in 4 years, the college people who will be voting in 4 years. You see what they're doing? The Democrats are doing this on purpose to plant racial hate and fear in the hearts of the youth to think they're going to be picking cotton and oh, you're going to be plucked away from your family and deported. This is disgusting, but they don't give a shit. This is what they want to do to get back in power.
Language including racist rhetoric that they had been, quote, selected to pick cotton. CNN's Gabe Cohen has the details. He's joining us right now. Tell us more of what you're learning about what they're doing about this, Gabe.
Well, Kate, first off, it looks like this is more widespread than we had expected, with people in at least 24 states now having reported receiving these messages. And these texts are not just upsetting, but they are alarming. They are personalized, and many of them specifically target Black and brown individuals, some of them students, some of them children. I want to show you one of the texts. It was sent to us by a woman in New Jersey. The text has her name written at the top of it, as you can see right there, and it references picking cotton, it references slave catchers and plantations, and some of the messages specifically reference President-elect Trump. Now, to be clear, the Trump campaign has told several media outlets that they had absolutely nothing to do with this. But as you can imagine, many people are really on edge in these days since the election. I want to play for you what a Colorado mother said after her 16-year-old son got one of these texts. Take a listen.
It's very tense. It's very scary for a lot of individuals. The fact that it happened the day after, Election Day, it really speaks to what I think is going on here.
And the president of the NAACP put out a statement saying these messages represent an alarming increase in vile and abhorrent rhetoric from racist groups across the country who now feel emboldened to spread hate and stoke the flames of fear that many of us are feeling after Tuesday's election results.
Jonathan, there was a woman who told NBC she sees these texts as a scare tactic, but that it's working. I've seen videos of people on social media, people who did not get texts, but who are breaking down in tears, who are talking as the woman who soundly played, are thinking about how they are going to explain what's going on to their kids. Tell me what's going on here as you see it.
Well,
they dirty, the dirty Democrat. I'm telling the dirty Democratic deep state cops finna gun niggas down. I hate to say all over this country, and then point at Trump and white people, but their inside guys are gonna be doing it. They gonna kneel on some necks, goddamn. It finna be some shootings, some black churches. Black people finna get shot at more. They gonna make sure that is terror and horror for blacks and Mexicans for 4 years. They starting off early, sending racist text messages across the country saying, nigga, today's a new day, and your ass is getting them fields. They doing that. It's a sign of what's to come at the hands of the Democrats, because they will not accept defeat. And they would be damned if the blacks and the Latinos turn on them and kick them in the ass. I'm telling you. So that's who they're going to target. That's why I don't like the racist-ass Democrats, man. Because in their America, whatever, they always going to be all right. If the white supremacists rise up, they're white. They're white. If Trump make America great, they're white. But they want America their way. They don't want Trump in power. And they damn sure want to keep us down.
On election night on PBS, after it became clear that Donald Trump was on his way to the presidency, that I said that I was concerned on multiple levels. And the first level I said was I was concerned as an African American. And I was concerned as an African American because of the rhetoric used by Donald Trump on the campaign trail.
Man, it's common. Fucking Galveston County, Sundown Town is right up the street, Santa Fe, Texas. These people disgusting. These people disgusting with doing like ain't no racists around here beating their chest. Talking about color, this is disgusting, man. Cause these motherfuckers, this bitch ass motherfucker, know damn well he ain't seen no racism except for them editors up there for where he work. He ain't seen no racism except the elite where he work. That man don't witness no hillbillies with nooses and Confederate flags, none of that shit. But he want to stir up shit down here where we at and hope somebody get lynched so he can get back in power? Disgusting. But as a black man, house nigga, what the hell is wrong with you? Racists all over the country, they're gonna be, boy, they got suits and ties, they your bosses. Them the racists where you work. Who you a DEI hire because you gay. Everybody know that. Jonathan K. Park, that's how you got that cushy job. Because you a black gay man. That's why you're allowed to talk how you talk. Cut.
Saying that he wanted to let police have a some sort of day of rage where they can get the crime situation under control in various cities. Well, the dog whistle there is that he's going to go after Black people. And so to see that these text messages...
The dog whistle is Black people are criminals. That's why they need niggas to get on TV and say we the criminals. Being tough on crime, boy, that criminals everywhere. You see all these white meth addicts, they criminals. I see them going to jail every day. Mexican, they throwing their ass in there too. But I told you, the Democrats, we want a new, we need to have police reform. They look at blacks, that's for y'all. Because we know y'all is the motherfucking criminals. That's disgusting. Anybody say they want tough on crime, it's a dog whistle to beat the hell out of blacks. Bullshit, house nigga. You're not finna get away with that, bro. You don't live where we live. You ain't going through what we going through. Ain't nobody standing in front of the store where you at begging for no change. That's drunk and homeless. The hell you care? We trying to clean up the city.
Messages were going out the day after he becomes president-elect. Just feeds into the fear and concern that a lot of African Americans have about what is to come. And Chris, what is especially pernicious about this text messaging campaign is that some messages just said something like greetings. Other messages said greetings and the person's name. And so how did they get the person's name? How did they get the person's...
wow. How did they get the person? This ain't 1920, bastard. They text their phone, dummy. And all these Democrats or Democratic donors, y'all wrong. I know you got all these people phone numbers, you got the kids' phone numbers, y'all all Democrats got text messages. They think we don't understand. Why no blacks who voted for Trump got these text messages? I mean, if this was random text messages to blacks, I mean, they should have accidentally sent some of them there too, right? Right? No. These people, they want to scare the hell out of the elderly. They need to keep them thinking. And they gonna take your Social Security too. Scare the hell out of the youth. They want them new voters. They're like, fuck the ones in the middle. It's a toss-up.
Cell phone number. Where did they get this information to target specific people and now target specific people in multiple states across the country? I know we're in this moment where we're trying to come to grips with what just happened, but I don't think anyone, particularly in those of us in our profession, and I'm not saying that we're doing that here. I'm just doing a shot across the bow to others to not downplay the concern and the legitimate fears, particularly people of color and especially Black people have as a result of the election of Donald Trump to another term in the White House.
Yeah, and clearly,
wow. You mean the same Latinos and Black people who put y'all ass out of power? Those same Blacks and Latinos are now they're afraid of what's going to happen with Donald Trump in power? We put him there. Do you see how stupid they think we are? We put him there. What they said is only the elite house niggas matter. It's how they feel. That's the only thing matter. They don't give a damn about us. How we feeling good. It's a new day. Woo, we finna deport. Finna clean up this crime. Greek freaks is feeling bad and make us feel better. But they got a surprise for us. We going to the nearest plantation because Donald Trump won. Man, what a fucking joke.
Really, guys, this is why the mainstream liberal media has lost all credibility. Okay? The fact they're even covering this story, which in my opinion, it's like, is it really a story? Let's be real. This is clearly a hoax. It's a hoax. Some people call it a prank. I'm calling it a hoax. It is a hoax from the left, okay? That's what it is. How do I know it's a hoax from the left? Well, because a vast majority of these so-called hate crimes are hoaxes from the left, right? I mean, this is some juicy Smollett type of stuff, okay? Because they want to create a narrative after Trump won the election that, minorities and women are in danger. You're in danger. Trump has emboldened all these people to be hateful towards minorities because Trump won, right? Now, this is the narrative that they're putting out there. Why are they putting out this narrative? Well, because they can't really point to any real policies under the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, that has actually hurt so-called Black people and minorities and women. No, they can't point to that. Okay, so this is what they do. They go with, well, no, it's not just Trump and his policies. It's these random people, these random racists around the country that are emboldened by Trump being president. Those people are the problem. That's what you got to worry about, right? It's such a big issue. So now you have things like this happening right after the election, in which, again, clearly, it's a hoax. Clearly, this comes from the left. Clearly, some liberal did this, right? There's no doubt about mine. Okay, I would bet a whole lot of money that whoever's behind this is a liberal, right? And that, again, this is a hoax from the left, because the liberal media, instead of doing some actual journalism, asking real questions about the timing of this in a way that's actually real, right? Legitimate questions like, does this really make sense? Like, does it really make sense to try to blame Trump? No. They take this obvious hoax and they try to blame Trump, right? They try to spin it as an example of, see, we told you, this is why electing Trump was dangerous, because of stuff like this. People get emboldened. So clearly, in my mind, this is being used to push propaganda against Trump even before the man can get into office. And this is what we have to look forward to for the next 4 more years, guys. It's going to be nothing but race hoax after race hoax after sexism hoax after bigotry hoax.
There's going to be no jokes. They want power. These people cutthroat killers, man. Hillary Clinton, them. No, it's going to be somebody's fault. We got to prepare your family. Be on the lookout. It's going to be somebody's fault. It's going to be some churches shot up. Some black people going to pay, and some Mexicans going to pay for Trump being in power. It's going to be us to pay. The Democrats are insane. And they know they can't get in power without getting us back in line. That's just the truth. And they not just the text messages. That's just the first act. Ain't gonna be a bunch of text messages. I can assure you that.
It's gonna be nothing but hoaxes. And I've seen so many of these hoaxes. It's easy to spot from a mile away. There's no doubt in my mind that a liberal is behind this. Only a liberal would do something like this. Okay? I mean, we've already seen how racist the liberals have become post-Trump being elected. Okay, these are the same people calling for mass deportations of Latino Americans simply because they decided that, hey, we want to support Trump. And they're out here saying, yeah, deport them, get rid of them, right? We don't like them, okay? So don't sit and try to tell me that, oh, well, this for sure is happening because of Trump, or that somehow, some way this comes from Trump. No. This comes from the left. I think that what has become clear after this election is that the party of racism, hate, and bigotry is the Democrat Party. Okay, that's how they started, and that's how they are today. They have not evolved, despite the narrative from the left that, oh, well, no, you don't understand. We may have started off as the party of slavery, but we've evolved, we've changed. Okay, the Republican Party is the party of bigotry and hate. Now, not us, but clearly that's not the case. Clearly that's not the case, right? Considering how much they seem to not like minorities that voted for Trump, okay? It's just funny how that works. But yeah, this is Juicy Smollett, right? This is just another hoax that was created by the left in order to fearmonger against Trump. And the American people aren't falling for it, man. Nobody's falling for this nonsense, okay? Now I understand, as a black person, if you get this text message, it probably is kind of scary if they got your address and all types of stuff like that. But to me, in my opinion, no Trump supporter would actually send out something.
What's so scary? We got to change that attitude. No, we ain't scared. We finally where they at. I swear to God, if I get a text message saying niggas time to report to the field, I hope they outside, bro. I'll put it on everything I love. I'm not lying. I hope they outside. Because I'm going to grab that thumper. We can finally do this. Scared? Are you nuts? No, we will not be scared about no fucking text messages. That's play. We wish they would be anywhere near us. Talking about report to the motherfucking fields. Oh, hell no. They got the wrong. Y'all don't speak for us. Don't talk like that, boy. Get to the back of the line. We run the party now. We don't give a damn about no fucking text messages. Then quit snitching. You want to do dirt with us? Don't leave no text messages, nigga. Don't leave no evidence. Let's just get to it when we see each other.
Like this, right? Nobody who's actually trying to help Trump, okay, or that supports Trump would send out a message like this. Like, it just doesn't make logical sense, right? But it makes a whole lot of sense for somebody on the left to do something like this in order to smear Trump after the election, okay,
Man,
to try to push this narrative that, yes, minority.
We ain't going back to the times being afraid. We ain't going back to the days where white people ride up and drag a black man out the house while all the other black men, that's what they did, man. Emmett Till, everything. His uncles watched those white men drag that boy out their house, and the uncles just sat there and feel. You know that's the truth. So, only rarely was it a time all the black men stood up. Most of the time, they watch a handful of white men go to one house, drag a black man down the road, all of the black men holding their family, and then they just getting picked off one by one. That shit is over with. No, that's over with. We don't even give a damn. Man, we wish they would roll up and play tough. I'm serious business. I want y'all to be safe. I wish they try any of that type of bullshit ass tactics, man. We're going to get glory that day.
These are in danger because of Trump. That's obviously what this is. It's clear as day. Clear as day. This makes no sense, just like it didn't make any sense that you had MAGA hat wearing white supremacists in the middle of Chicago beating up Juicy Smollett in the middle of the night, right? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This doesn't make any sense. And
any black man, if some MAGA white boys roll up on you and kick your ass, you deserve to get your ass kicked. Nigga, if they some racist redneck Klansmen, then I'm going to greet them when I see them. But you niggas better not be for 4 years. I got sucked in the house by a MAGA, you bitch. Swing back. Hey, I'm tired of seeing videos. Oh, I'm being harassed in the white neighborhood. You going live. You a buster. You a phony. Somebody, because there's a bunch of crack dummies. You think you're the new Dr. King. You want some white people to kick your ass while you go live. And you saying we had a dream. Man, don't play with us like that. Humiliating us.
Anybody falling for this is just not very smart, right? You're not very intelligent. And that's just what it is at this point. I don't know what to tell you, man. 4 more years of this, guys. The left, they're showing us that they're not going to give up. They're not going to give up the race hustle. They're not going to give up the identity politics. They're not going to give up the boohoo, whine, and cry, racism, and bigotry. No. They're going to ramp it up to a whole new level that we've never seen before. That's what they're going to do, okay? And if they want to continue to do this, be my guest, right? Be my guest. Nobody's falling for this anymore. Nobody can.
Man, they're scamming. They scamming the hell out of black people. Talking about report to the motherfucking fields. Man, if they don't stop it.
Donald Trump's not even president yet. Have you seen what's happened in the last 48 hours? The misogynist appoints the first ever woman to be chief of staff. The Taliban announced they want peace with America and to be taken off the terrorist list. Putin came out and said that Western civilization is not an enemy. Mexico has started securing the border in, of course, response to tariff threats. Saudi Arabia is kicking out all of their Hamas leaders. New York is cleaning up their illegal migrant crisis. Xi Jinping came out and said he wants to peacefully coexist with China and said that they respect American people. The European Union chief finally came out and said, hey.
A lot of this is some extra propaganda. Because a lot of this is bullshit. You know, Xi Jinping ain't kissing no ass. Putin ain't kissing no ass. Putin ain't kissing no ass. And it ain't that Trump came to power in a world that's kneeling at the feet. That's all fucking nonsense. The world ready to see if Trump want to realign and have peace. But before Trump got in power, the world, as far as the revolutionary nations led by Putin, was ready for World War III, and already made the rules of what the rules of engagement was going to be. If Trump try to play around in Ukraine any type of way and arm them neo-Nazis and put in the boots on the ground, it's going to be World War III. If the United States try to attack Iran, Israel going to get wiped off the motherfucking map. It's going to be World War III. If U.S. getting China's business with Taiwan, World War III. If Trump played with Kim Jong-un the wrong way in the South Korea incident, World War III. That ain't gonna change, man.
Hey, America, can we start buying LNG from you so they stop buying from Russian gas? Putin says he takes Donald Trump's plan to end the war with Ukraine very seriously, and Russia supports it. The Houthis are stepping back. The Hamas called for an immediate end to war.
No, they're not. The Houthis not stepping back. This is live propaganda. We're watching this video. Houthis is not stepping back. Hamas has not stopped attacking. Hezbollah has not stopped attacking. They're attacking more. They have applied more pressure. I just showed the video yesterday. They're attacking bases Israel getting hit all over, deep into Israel. They have not laid down. That's not true.
Term limits in from Congress, so that way people like Nancy Pelosi stop being forever members. Stock markets and crypto hit all-time highs. He sent Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton into depression. Because of all of this amazing news, white, liberal, ugly women are now refusing to have sex with men. America is, in fact, being made great.
That's what I'm talking about. The man ain't even walked in the White House yet. He ain't even stepped foot back up in there yet to get his closet back. He already got people. Yeah, let me go and hit up Trump. Trump about to be in office is going to end this war right here. Hey, Putin, yeah, go ahead and make that phone call, dog. You know what I'm saying? No, seriously, people making money now. Like, he ain't even stepped into office. And the Democrats, for whatever reason, still seem to be under this delusional brainwash propaganda rhetoric. I'll just say that, right? Because you see what's going on at The View. Just like day 4 of them just melting down. And we love to see it. I've never been so excited to watch The View in my life. I know their ratings gotta be crazy because of me, because of you too. Now, remember, Donald Trump is a misogynist and sexist and, all these other words, right? But just yesterday, well, a couple days ago, I'm sorry, I failed to bring this up, but a couple days ago, Trump's campaign manager, Susie Wiles, has been named chief of staff. And she's the first female chief of staff in history.
Donald Trump has just announced moments ago that he is going to name Susie Wiles, his campaign co-chair, to be the chief of staff of his presidency once he gets to office starting in January. And I do want to read you the statement here. He says, Susie Wiles just helped me achieve one of the greatest political victories in American history and was an integral part of both my 2016 and 2020 successful campaigns. Susie is tough, smart, innovative, and is universally admired and respected. Susie will continue to work tirelessly to make America great again. It is a well-deserved honor to have Susie as the first ever female chief of staff in United States history. I have no doubt that she will make our country proud. As we talked about earlier today, Susie had been the top contender going into this. She is someone who makes Donald Trump feel comfortable. She is also someone who has really lasted the longest in Donald Trump's orbit, a place that is known for knife fighting and backstabbing. She has been loyal to the former president, a constant by his side since he left office in 2021. One thing I will say, Jake, she had some stipulations that he clearly agreed to, telling one source that she didn't want the clown car to be able to have access to the White House at any time, meaning those people who they don't want near Donald Trump. She clearly won that argument. She will be the first female chief of staff in United States history.
That's huge news. I am interested in learning, and maybe you can make a list of the people who would qualify as the clowns, because I'm sure everybody has their different take on who might constitute members of the clown car. But that is interesting news, and she certainly ran Donald Trump's most professional campaign. Kristen Holmes with the breaking news. Thanks. Scott Jennings still with us. Scott, your reaction?
Oh, great pick. I think what was said in the statement is absolutely true. She's universally respected in the party. The organization of the campaign and the fact that he stuck with the leadership team all the way through, I think, is a testament to just what a great job that she did. Being the first female chief of staff in the White House, I think, is a huge marker for both President Trump and the Republican Party. So I think if she can bring the kind of discipline and organization to the White House that she just ran this campaign with, Donald Trump's got a really good chance to get off to a great start and begin achieving objectives right out of the way. So you're going to get a lot of attaboys from across the Republican spectrum for picking Susie Wiles tonight.
All right, Scott Jennings, thanks so much.
I know Democrats are fuming right now. Like, oh, man, he's doing everything we said he wasn't going to do. We said he wasn't going to do, or, whatever, man. He definitely, women for Trump, let me go ahead and say that. Women are definitely winning in the long run for sure if you got a Donald Trump to hide your back, because the Democrats, man, they was only trying to continue to hide y'all in with the victim complex. Somebody says, daughter of the great Pat Summerall. I hope she doesn't bring globalists into the White House. Feminists won't say a single word about this. Of course, but the feminists are supposed to be, this is supposed to be an empowering moment for them right now. This is supposed to be something that they can celebrate. It's a woman empowerment, right? Oh, when it's Trump attached to it, yeah, it don't matter, right? Mm-hmm. Don't matter. I tell you what, though, Hollywood is real quiet right now. Hollywood is looking real spooky, if you ask me. Today we have Bill Bellamy. He says Cat Williams is a prophet, and we all knew that because Cat Williams went on Shannon Sharp earlier this year. And man, let's just say it's coming to fruition, everything that he talked about in that interview. Now, the Diddy tapes are about to drop, and all of Hollywood right now is terrified. In 2024, will be a year of jail. Bill Bellamy, I'm quoting him. And then another quote, I'm going to tell you right now, Hollywood is quiet, bro. I ain't never. It's ghost town in Hollywood. People are trying to get their alibis together. It's about to go down.
First question out of everybody's mouth. We got to ask. You been to a Diddy party?
Nah.
Damn, you didn't get an invite?
I feel real good. God has blessed me. You know, a lot of people can't stand on business right now. Right. You know, I can stand on the whole business. But boy, there's some people right now that are shook. Let me tell you right now, Hollywood quiet. Bro.
I know it.
Bro, I ain't never, it's ghost town in Hollywood. People trying to get their alibis together. It's about to go down. Them tapes about to drop.
Hold on a second, Bill.
He's been saying that for weeks.
No, because
Hollywood is so quiet.
They have to be scared. Let me tell you what I'm sad
Terrified.
for. Okay, the fact that you think you're partying with another celeb and we all good, right? That's what everybody probably thinking.
Yep.
You get to keep your secrets, and this dude just sat up there and taped everything.
Yo, but this is the thing that I'm taking it one more step further, right? It's one thing to go to a party and know what you did. There's people that don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So now you like, what? Wait a minute. Was you with me? Was you?
Oh, yeah,
wait a
that's
minute.
true.
That's crazy.
Because now you don't know what you did, and then you get the phone call because Cass is getting the phone calls.
They getting
right
the phone
now.
calls now.
Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Right.
Pull up at 2:00.
Look, everybody that's on the investigation, they getting the package at the door.
Yo!
Look, it's a red phone. You got the answer.
Listen to me clearly, right? It's interesting right now to me that everybody thought Cat Williams was crazy. He's a prophet.
Oh, I know.
Cat Williams is a prophet. He forced source. I don't know. Somebody gave him some eyewitness news. He said he dropped it and walked away.
Left.
And boom, it wasn't even 6 weeks later.
Okay, but hold on a second, Bill. This is what everybody kept saying. When you think about it, that was the beginning of 2024, right? Think about it. He did that. When was that interview? Like January?
Roughly.
And you're right. We haven't heard from him. And people said that 2024 was the year of reveal. What do you guys think 2025 is going to be?
The year of jail. Man, all the concerts gonna be in jail.
Yeah,
man, I'm going in there to see Tory. I'm going in to see
Kelly, I'm going in to see
everybody gonna be in there.
Dirt.
I'm gonna see Dirt.
God.
Hey man, it's gonna be the best concerts in jail. Man, I'm about to go to Folsom Prison, man. They got I'm getting VIP. I'm in the yard. Oh wow.
There's so much talent upstate.
Yeah, Hollywood is eerily quiet. You know, I wonder why, where's the Mark Cubans, where is, who else? All the celebrities. I ain't even gonna get get into any more specifics. Well, all the celebrities that were endorsing Kamala Harris. Yeah, man. It seems eerily like, you know what? We need to congregate together. We need to go ahead and go over some alibis and figure this out. I'm thoroughly looking forward to the deep state corruption being dismantled and all this, pedo behavior, putting people in prison who deserve it come next year for sure, man. Trump 2024. Somebody said now that was funny. 2024, the year of reveal. 2025, the year of jail. What's 2025 gonna be? The year of jail. So yeah, it's being coined as the year of jail right now. Shout out to Cat Williams too. He's a good man. But stay prayed up too, because y'all listen, judgment is coming soon. And God made sure that Kamala didn't win when she condemned those rally goers, saying that when they was talking about Jesus is Christ is king, and she was you at the wrong rally. Yeah, that's why you lost right there. God wasn't having that. God wasn't having that. Now, according to Benny Johnson, Democrats complained that their biggest fear would be Trump refusing to concede the 2024 election. But he won by a landslide. We all seen that, the red wave. I hope ain't nobody get drowned by it, but anyhow. The Pennsylvania Senate race has also been called, but Bob Casey still refuses to concede. Where is the Democrat Party calling him a threat to democracy? Let's see what we got right here. He say flips the seat to the Republican Party. What we got right here? I've said before, I'll say it now. It's a beautiful day to count every vote. Pennsylvania is the birthplace of our democracy, and we must ensure that. Oh, wow. Wow. And y'all was over there trying to set up, saying that Donald Trump was going to be the one over here, preparing on his lie and how he's going to, prepare his alibi if he loses and all this other stuff. But look at y'all. And y'all was begging everybody, hey, you're going to be able to, deal with the results. You're just going to agree. You're going to agree. Look at you. I mean, as you can see, these people just... They ain't coping well. The hypocrisy is starting to stick out. I mean, that thing's starting to go womp, 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 womp right now. Now, also, I seen something pop up earlier. I'm trying to find it. Trump actually offered to pay the debt of Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris campaign went in. It's been reported that they are $20 million in debt from running, this installed campaign. But I told y'all a while ago it was a virus. Was I lying? But here's the tweet right here. Let me see if I can get it better for y'all. Okay, there we go. Trump offers to help the broke Democrat Party with their debt problems. Oh, my gosh. Look at him. Y'all done, he's such a good heart on this, man. Y'all done did the worst to this man, and he over here still trying to help y'all. I'm very surprised that the Democrats who fought hard and, how you say that? Valiant? I don't know. I got to look that up. Hold on real quick. Valiant, okay. And it means processing or showing courage or determination. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm very surprised that the Democrat... Wait, I just read the word and forgot already. Valiant, okay. My bad, y'all. A little impaired this morning. It says, I am very surprised that the Democrats who fought a hard and valiant fight in the 2020 presidential election, raising a record amount of money, didn't have lots of money left over. A lot of dollars left over. Now... they are being squeezed by vendors and others. Whatever we can do to help them during this difficult period, I would strongly recommend we as a party, and for the sake of desperately needed unity, do. We have a lot of money left over, and our biggest asset in the campaign was earned media. And that doesn't cost very much. Oh, this guy just flexing. He just flexing. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh, man. Trump is that guy. Oh, my God. Somebody said we did not elect him to do anything like this. I hope he's joking. Trump might be the greatest troll on planet Earth. I am excited for the next 4 years and beyond, man. I'm telling you, it's about to be a party. I was one of the people that was anti-Trump. I had suffered from TDS really bad at one point. But, here we are. Sad thing is they're too stupid to accept the help. Yeah, I mean, they probably need to go ahead and accept the help because, it'll probably be to save a little bit of face while Trump is in a decent mood right now. I'm trying to tell you, better catch him before January 5th or 20th, my bad. Trump needs to pay $475 million to James. Yeah, right. She better back off. I'm trying to tell y'all, she better back off. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what.
Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights, and I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
We've been warning people on the show, Mike. This isn't the same Trump administration. Stop messing around. Don't illegally vote. Don't try the funny business, because we know the team this time and they are not effing around.
Now, I kind of fumbled the play because I was supposed to play what she said first and then show you their response. But, oh well. The reason why that clip came about is because of this clip.
We did not expect this result, but we are prepared to respond to this result. And my office has been preparing for several months because we've been here before. We faced this challenge before. And we use the rule of law to fight back. And we are prepared to fight back once again. Because as the Attorney General of this great state, it is my job to protect and defend the rights of New Yorkers and the rule of law. And I will not shrink from that responsibility.
As my guy JV the Great said, who What exactly is she fighting for in New York besides herself and George Soros? The entire
Right. 74 million people are racist. Every racist and misogynist voted for Donald Trump. Not everyone that voted for Donald Trump was a racist and misogynist.
I agree with that.
Everyone swept. They swept every category. And the reason they did is to say, hey, guys, no excuses this time.
Yeah. Look,
they lost everything.
there's still half the country that doesn't agree with
environment to
him.
be ravaged, it's children to be shot, it's wealth to be hoarded, it's workers to be exploited, it's poor to starve, it's cops to murder.
So you think America's
It's
the
a country
problem?
in trouble.
It's
So
America's
so
the
we go to
problem
the
and the
Trump
voters
is not
are
going to
the
make it
And
better.
hold it for the next segment, right?
All right, let's continue to have some fun with these liberals melting down the View. I was waiting on this to happen, but they didn't give it to me the first time around. Sonny Hostin didn't give it to me the first time around. She kind of held back. They wrote her a script so she can be half dumb. Now she gone full R word. And y'all know what word I'm talking about. Let's roll the clip of Sonny Hostin just losing her salvation if she ever had some. Roll the clip.
Disagree.
All right.
I think that I'd like to reframe the conversation. I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America? I think what is wrong with our country that the Republican Party would choose as a candidate and support a candidate who is an insurrectionist, who is an election denier, who is someone who is twice impeached, 34-time convicted felon, someone who has been accused of alleged sexual misconduct by 26 women, found liable for sexual abuse. What is wrong with this country that they would choose a message of divisiveness, of xenophobia, of racism, of misogyny over a message of inclusiveness, a message for the people, by the people, of the people. That's what the problem is. It's the Republican Party.
But can I
what's wrong with
say
America?
something before we can do a second? The
Hold on a second
Democrat.
before Dodo get on there. I don't think they learned anything. Do you? I don't think they've learned anything. Ma'am, one of two things happened. The American people realized that it was all bogus, or the American people don't give a flying flip. Because I don't care what people accusing you of doing if I can't feed my kids. Now, I'm not in that position, but I'm saying a lot of Americans are saying that they're in that position where they can't feed their kids. They're struggling with rent. I mean, I'm being honest. Me and my COO was having this conversation earlier about how people are struggling nowadays. You know, there's a few people, and I don't want to disclose, I ain't say no names or something, but there's a few people that work for me that got two jobs, and they're not making nowhere near minimum wage. Not even near. And so times must be difficult. Now I have a plan to, we take care of our people. But I mean, either they need to get their budget together or times are rough for people. I remember back in the day, I was making $7 an hour working at Verizon Wireless Premium Retailer, which wasn't even a real Verizon store. They were making $14 an hour. I was making $7. We never made bonus because we didn't sell enough. And I wasn't going to sell your grandma an iPhone to make a budget. Wasn't doing it. And now people are struggling. So, ma'am, do you want a person who gonna screw you over and you're gonna be running out of money while they doing everything they can for the illegals? Our country is going to crap. Crime is out of control, but they nice to you. Or you want somebody that probably got a little dirt under their boots, probably said a few things that should have never been public. Maybe they looking a woman up and down. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Because I'd rather for the economy to be good, for America to be safe, and for us to prosper as a nation, because you only got 4 years. I'm not hiring you to be a babysitter. You're not my nanny. I'm not hiring you as a bishop of the church where you're baptizing people in Jesus' name. They ain't got nothing to do with me. And especially if you ain't done it while you're the president. If somebody had a videotape of me before I got saved, y'all talking about Donald Trump and talking about on that bus. I was broke and I said stuff worse than he did. I could do all the stuff he could do. I was broke. We were talking nasty. Pictures and everything. Girl showing a thing to him. He showed everybody. Dang, I didn't know she had it like that. Dang, showed everybody looking at it. What you talking about? We already know who on the list. You're like, oh, bro, I thought she was a good girl. She doing all that. You think we weren't talking like that in the locker room? It wasn't right. When I got saved, I was done with it. But stop playing games. Some of y'all, if you were honest, that's how your daddy had you. Your mama wasn't as nice as you thought she was. She was getting around. Your mama hit the block a couple of times. Your daddy didn't even know if you were his at first. Don't play no games. Quit acting like y'all been saved your whole life. All right. Got a super chat real quick. I want to get to it, and then we're gonna let Dummy McDumdum have her statement. Somebody said, AGC said, thank you, Officer Tatum, for the long journey we, the people, have been on with you. I love your site. I love that you give facts. Keep up the good work. My son loves your merch. I appreciate it. There's somebody else that gave one. They said, okay, Hunter said, Mr. Tatum, just a few questions here. Do you think the house market will come back to 2018 and improve past that? And do you think that the left will stay trying to harm Trump? Love your show. I appreciate it, Hunter. I think that we're going to see the best economic success over time. We're going to see wages outpace inflation, and we're going to have our country back. And people are going to start manufacturing here in America, or they're going to get tariffed, and we're going to bring revenue back to the country. I'm hoping that Donald Trump keeps his promise about people not paying taxes on their overtime and all of the above. Because I just have a feeling if there's no tax on overtime, then a whole bunch of people working for me going to get a whole bunch of overtime. I'm just saying. Let's put this out real quick so you guys can see. You can go on and get some merch today. It's POTUS 30. Get 30% off the entire store. The shirt that I'm wearing right now is our victory shirt. We also have another victory shirt like this, which is our best seller. And then this is our second best fan favorite. But we got Make America Great Again. We got a little scoreboard shirt, and we also got Not Tired of Winning, which is pretty significant. And this comes in different colors. This one comes in black and in red. As I say, roll the clip.
So the ones, they are the party that cares for the blue collar.
Exactly.
Worker. The Democrats are the ones who put in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, union protection,
ACA,
unemployment insurance, and Obamacare. The Republican Party doesn't give a rat's patootie about
clearly
it.
they didn't convince the voters of
So
that.
all I can deduce is that it's the messaging. It didn't get through to people. They're not paying attention. That's all.
Yeah,
because the Democrats have always been for the working people.
Exactly. And the Republicans
I think the message of the Democrats sounded elitist. You don't have value in society.
They
You don't have a
sounded
college
that way,
degree.
but when you look at the proof,
yeah,
they weren't.
but Joy, it's condescending. It's condescending. There is a
condescending.
The way that the left speaks to its voters, it really is
a message of joy and inclusiveness.
No, the message of not being educated, being dumb, and what's wrong with America.
Who said that?
Sonny just did.
What is wrong with
Joy,
America?
My point here is that
that's not what Kamala Harris said.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
My point is, I don't blame Joe Biden. I don't blame Kamala Harris. Go back as far as you want. I blame a messaging within the Democratic Party.
You don't blame the Republican Party.
Can I just finish my point, please? I obviously have a problem. Anyone has a problem with Donald Trump. The bigger question should be, yes, Sonny, why did they vote for him?
Yes.
In sweeping.
So they need to be introspective.
No, we need to be introspective. If we voted for Kamala Harris, we need to say what didn't resonate with the voters. Do you know what didn't resonate with the voters? When they were saying we don't feel safe and the left focused on defund the police and bail reform.
Yeah.
When they said they were worrying about, can I just finish? Let me just finish real quickly. When they were focused on
It's only an hour show, ladies.
Joy, when they were focused on renaming schools, there were people saying, hey, students are destroying colleges. I paid for that. I sent them there. They can't learn. And everyone apologized for it and didn't want to attend to it. They also denied the border was a crisis and kept saying, no, it's fine. This is not a...
There was a border bill, though. There was a border bill.
Yes, but Joy, my point is they screamed and screamed and screamed. They didn't vote for him because he's a racist or a misogynist. They voted because they needed help in their everyday lives.
But Sarah,
they made the majority of this country, because
there's
every stat coming out on the people willing to self-reflect are showing these.
Oh, wait, they're going to say I'm a racist and a misogynist in the exit poll?
You
I don't
really think
so.
74 million
Joy,
people are racist?
Who's gonna say that?
Every racist and misogynist voted for Donald Trump. Not everyone that voted for Donald Trump was a racist and misogynist.
I agree with that.
Everyone swept. They swept every category. And the reason they did is to say, hey, guys, no excuses this time. Yeah.
Look,
they lost everything.
There's still half the country that doesn't agree with
environment to
him.
be ravaged, its children to
Hold
be
on a
shot.
second.
It's what
I want to let Lukey and Dookie have they say in this, but homegirl in the blue kind of waking up. We've been saying this for 4 years. The elitist approach to shaming the American people, they're still out. Sonny hosting, and she was the only one in the show. They still shaming voters. They're dumb. They're uneducated white folks. Keep on doing that. You're gonna keep losing. And the lady in the blue, they should let her talk. Well, I wanted to not talk because I don't want them to ever win again. But they should listen to her because she's on to something. Nobody want to. He's Hitler. He's Hitler. He's Hitler. You keep saying that, and they're expecting him to do some gulag stuff. And when he don't, they like, well, wait a minute, bro. And she says some interesting stuff too. The cities are burning, and they go, defund the police. The racist white cop. We need to rethink policing in America. And they loot these stores. You go to California and places where it used to be safe, people get mugged at the store. It's a dude that I know. His homeboy got shot the night before, and his girlfriend got robbed for a whole car the next day in Orange County. But the police are the problem. Keep saying that. It's because of what's wrong with America. No, the Democrat Party got swept. With all that they did against Trump, y'all got swept, bro. Y'all need to think about it. I hope y'all never think about it because you'll never win again. It's always somebody else's problem. Internal locus of control versus external locus of control. The difference between conservatives and liberals. The conservatives are saying, it's on us. It's American people. We got to do this. The liberals are, everybody else's fault. I don't blame Kamala. Kamala was terrible. What you mean you don't blame Kamala? She couldn't answer a question on the campaign trail. She did not articulate a vision whatsoever for the American people. That's why they didn't vote for her. She could have. They spent almost $1 billion. Every celebrity on planet Earth said, go for Kamala. Black people, black and brown, let's rise up. We can't wait to see Donald Trump lose his position again. We're going to laugh at them hillbillies. And now look at you on the show crying. Ain't nobody watching this because y'all told him Donald Trump don't have a chance to win. He a 45-time convicted felon. He a convicted felon. Now y'all are here crying. Oh, Wolverine, thanks so much for the $50 super chat. How soon do you think that they will try to impeach him again? Will they just let him be president? Well, they don't have no choice because we have the House and Senate. I think we're pretty much going to get the House. If we don't this time, we'll get it next time. They don't have enough people to impeach. If they impeach in the House, they will not remove in the Senate. The same thing that happened last time. They did all the impeach, and did nothing. I hope that they keep pushing this thing. I'm going to tell you, I talked to a person that is close to me that I love yesterday, and I'm like, I don't get it how people don't see the writing on the wall with Donald Trump. I listen to what Donald Trump say. I'm critical of Donald Trump. And I have never seen Donald Trump say something racist. Donald Trump has never said anything bad. They always take what he say out of context. And then they flip-flop it and twist it. But the American people are sick of that. We get it now. Light switch went off. Probably because Elon Musk bought Twitter. And now he bought Twitter and people got access to real information and not just the mainstream media.
Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, more and more people just cannot understand why more black men voted for Trump in this election. They just thought that they just had the handle on black men, that black men are going to do exactly what they're told. Black men are going to just follow the women, like what Tiffany Cross had told us a few years ago. But the USA Today had put up an article talking about this. So let's go ahead and look at it. It says Trump gains among black men, leaving many asking what went wrong. Oh man, hey, so let's go ahead and look at it. Say Maurice Meyer, it said didn't bother showing up to the polls. So this brother decided to sit it out. You see, the Pittsburgh native who holds down a day job as a dishwasher at an Italian restaurant in Market Square, pursues entrepreneurial endeavors such as his TikTok channel, as they were nearly 10,000 followers. They said nothing in the presidential election affect his day-to-day life, he said. The 44-year-old black man leaned toward voting for Vice President Kamala Harris based on concerns conveyed by his mother, but he felt the Democratic nominee had never tried to earn his vote. He said, I didn't vote at all. I just didn't see the need. So this brother decided to sit it out. And I told y'all there were black people that sat it out. They say for many black men, it's a Republican Donald Trump's decisive victory over Harris on Tuesday landed like a gut punch. They said 72 million Americans voted to return the former president to power despite a record that included questioning Harris's racial heritage, 2 impeachments, a conviction of 34 felonies, and the violence of January 6th. Of course, you know, this person wrote this, have their biases. They said Trump defeated Harris by holding his base and expanding his margins among black and Latino voters, a confounding statistic for many black men who are trying to figure out what went wrong and how they can keep it from happening again, which clearly is not the black men that voted for Trump. And say to win, many said candidates need to talk and say from the start about policies, which is true. Many people have said that policies, and positions that are important to black voters, especially men. Glad they say that, especially men, because black men have been overlooked so much. Okay. He said they must persuade and mobilize black communities around those issues, said Khalil Thompson, a political strategist and veteran of Barack Obama's presidential campaign. He said, I believe that wasn't a strategy that was adhered to from either side, not just from Democrats, from either side. Okay. Now they said that, now let me get to this. Black voters have long been the Democrat Party's most loyal voting bloc, often catapulting Democrats to victory. That includes black men who have been the second highest bloc of progressive voters for decades behind black women. Say, while Trump didn't win a majority of black votes or Latinos, he did make inroads. He won support from about 13% of black voters nationally and 45% of Latino voters. They say in 2020, Trump won just 8%, let's say, of black voters and 32% of Latinos. But let me say something about this before I keep going, ladies and gentlemen. If you break it down state by state, it's much higher, right? Because in my state of Texas, 31% of black men voted for Trump. 31%. In Pennsylvania, black men, 26% for Trump, right? So that's what they're not doing. They're not breaking. See, the Democrats, what they're trying to do in their media is hold that narrative. Well, black men didn't really vote for Trump. Don't lie to yourself. You're not gonna be able to fix your party by lying to yourself. Y'all lied here, lied there, lie. You cannot do nothing without the truth. Okay? Knowing the truth shall set you free. Once again, it's not the truth, but knowing the truth. And you Democrats don't want to know the truth. The fact is, if you demonize men, black men definitely in particular, you called us misogynist, you called us we don't want to see a woman this and just talking crap on black men. Black men have been the only men in society that have allowed women to lead our households. Other groups of men would dare let no woman lead no household. So black men don't have no problem with women leading in our community. We don't. Okay? But the disrespect was too much in this campaign. And none of y'all are writing articles about the disrespect of black men. You can't disrespect black men and expect them to show up. No. I'm not showing up for you at all. I didn't vote for her. I'm telling you why I didn't vote for her. The economy. I didn't vote for her because of geopolitical issues, these wars. I didn't vote for her because she talked about the unintended gains tax she wants to put on people, right? Her wanting to raise taxes on businesses and everybody else. No. Because the only way that I can pay the people that work with us on our platform is saving money, and especially on taxes. You understand? And if I can't save money on taxes, then it's hurt. Listen, everybody who's entrepreneurs have been hurting this year. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you had a job, you're hurting. Why would I go vote for 4 more years of that? Why? Yeah, they'll be stupid. So hell no, I didn't vote for her. Nope. I voted for my pocketbook. It's just that simple. Let's say for months, Trump and his allies pinned part of their strategy of peeling men of color away from the Democrat coalition. The campaign really chipped at the black vote, for instance, with the messages of discontent about the economy, illegal immigration, and culture war issues. And Trump's team dispatched high-profile surrogates at fast food restaurants, churches, and barbershops in predominantly African-American communities, carrying similar messages. They say white people being racist is not a big issue for me. Former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, whose prison sentence for corruption charges was commuted by Trump. He said, my life doesn't change because somebody white says something racist. It's true. Like, they can be racist all they want, as long as you don't come to my face with it and disrespect me or put your hands on me. I don't care what racist. You can keep that in your rural area. I'm cool. Now, let's continue. Say, experts warned months ago how a growing pessimism among a segment of black voters, chiefly younger working class men living in urban centers, could bear fruit for the former president. It said 2022 Pew Research Center poll, let's say, for instance, found 64% of black Americans said the increased focus on issues of race and racial inequality has not led to improvement of the lives of black people. Another 51% of black Americans said they believed racism would worsen over their lifetimes. Let's say, according to a 2023 Washington Post survey, it says strategy paid off. It says 3 in 10 black men under the age of 45 went for Trump, according to AP Vocast figures. It say almost double what he received 4 years ago. And let me say this. When this person when they talked about the focus on racism, but they never did nothing about it. So they'll get black people going, this racism and discrimination and anti-black and all, they'll get you all hyped about it. Then when the Democrats get in office, nothing changes. It's still the status quo. You understand what I'm saying? So they play with your emotions, they get your hopes up and all kind of things, and then they go right back to the status quo. And the Democrats played that game for too long. This election, they didn't do it, but they didn't say nothing for black people at all, or especially black men. And they knew that, and so their strategy was black men are discontent, black men are not feeling the party. Their strategy was shame, insults, and guilt. That's what it was. Shame, insults, and guilt. And that didn't work with black men. Black men say, you can't shame me enough because I'm looking at my bank account right now on my phone. You can't force me to go vote for no Democrat. When I can go look at the history of my bank account and my statements. And when Trump was in office, I had way more money sitting in my bank account. When Trump was in office, I was taking more vacations. I was taking my family on more vacations when Trump was in office. Ain't nothing you could tell me, no shame, anything that you could tell me right now that's going to change my mind. And I'm proud of black men because black men decided that they were not going to let you Democrats disrespect them no longer. They wouldn't go sit up here and go vote for stupidity. They don't put nothing in their bank accounts. Talking about immigration, abortion, LGBT, they don't put a dime in any of our bank accounts. How did you even think about to run on that? I'm trying to understand. The economy is what it is, and that's what you're going to run on? Joy and vibes? That joy don't put nothing in my bank account. And black men understand it. Listen, black men have women that they have to take care of, children that they have to take care of. Sometimes we have to take care of our in-laws, our mothers, our fathers, our grandmas. Like, we need money to do that. What if grandma needs some medicine and she's short on cash? We need to step in as men and go help our grandma out. How are we gonna do that on joy and vibes? That's what made y'all lose the election. Black men are tired of playing the game with you Democrats being broke. If going over there with Trump and them is going to put some money in their pocket, well, it is what it is. Oh, they got some racists that follow him. Man, as black men, we know how to deal with racists. And most of these quote-unquote racists, they're not brave. Trust me, they're not. We know them. They're not brave. The only time they get brave, unless it's one of us and 10 of them. Or if they got like something on them, like a gun or something. That's the only time they get brave. But mano a mano, they are not brave. They bark, but they ain't gonna bite. Trust me. Trust me on that. Democrats, you just played yourself. Now you have to figure out a way to say, hey, you know what? We need to get on this with black men on. Black men want to get their paper. And now you have to compete with the Republicans now about how you're going to put more money in the back pocket of black men. Let's continue. Women with Black Men hosted an online forum with dozens of black male canvassers, strategists, and community activists on Wednesday, where many expressed dismay at Trump's return to power, but also expressed sharp criticism toward Democrats. Ambrose Lane, president of Million Man Vote, said the U.S. economy has been robust under Biden. The cost of things that people buy every day remain high to the point where the Harris campaign spoke about stopping the price gouging. He says, so Biden very well could have stopped price gouging during his term before he even passed the reins over the Kamala, but he didn't do that. And so I think that those economic issues played a significant role. He said some blame the convergence of racism and sexism nationwide as a handicap against Harris. Not had nothing to do with it. And say part of that was brought to the forefront by Obama, who was chastised in October when he suggested some black men aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as a president. Preliminary exit polls show roughly 78% of black men pulled the lever for Harris. It say more than any other group of male voters in the country. So if they really had a problem with it, that many wouldn't have voted for her, right? It said many in the Win with Black Men discussion called out how millions of eligible black male voters in the battleground states sat out this November. I told y'all, a lot of people sat it out, and they're admitting that they sat it out. Let's say others sought an agenda to motivate those non-voters ahead of the next election, and say it was even suggested to the group that they should lobby the returning Trump administration on certain policy goals, which was a non-starter for some. And say blacks, and say who voted on the red side, voted against their own interests. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. And say Trump has no interest to help black men. Is it Mr. Addy? He's not done a thing for black men in his entire 78 years of living. I don't look at another man to do for me. I look at myself and my God. Why would I be looking at Trump to do something for me? You're a whole grown doggone man. Why are you looking at a man to do something for you? The only thing Trump can do for me is make it easier for me to do for myself. That's the only thing he really can do. It says, as far as the gender friction of the black community, many in Wednesday's online meeting praised black women for their role in the election. Holiday president of Sisters Lead Sisters Vote, which among other things conducts research on black women returning for local and national offices, said black men engage differently than us politically. It said that doesn't mean that they are misaligned from us. Is that Thompson, the Win with Black Men leader, said that he doesn't fault Harris, who entered the race late and didn't have enough time to engage the black voters in the way they needed to be approached, he said. He said there was excitement around her candidacy. He said, but she did have, but did she have the opportunity to really start a conversation with black men as a candidate? She didn't want to do interviews for almost 40 days. He said a misstep, he said, was a heavy focus on new media and engagement with social media influence to deliver a message. He said that may have been a unique approach, but not the one I would have taken. Thompson said he would have knocked on more doors and had more direct conversation with voters. Texting is great because the device is in everybody's hand. He said, but it's not as effective as direct conversation. Looking ahead of the group plans to host a series of regional conversations focused on policy, including with conservative leading black men who have voted for Trump. Okay. So this is the thing. No, she was actually on the right path with doing that, because if you go look at Joe Rogan's interview, Trump got 40 some odd million views on the Joe Rogan interview. He wanted to interview her, but she said, I can only be an hour and it has to be recorded. Well, he does his stuff live. So she messed off an opportunity to go talk to Joe Rogan, and who has a big podcast. You know what I'm saying? And Joe Rogan invited me to go on the podcast and wanted to holler at me for 3 hours. Oh, I'm going, because he got a big platform and I could springboard off of that platform. I mean, you're a dummy not to go on Joe Rogan's platform. It's just that silly. So that's just that simple, right? So no, she didn't do wrong by doing that. She just went too late. And the problem is she started off a bunch of softballs, but she did do the right thing on that, but she just did it too late in the game. She should have did that immediately. If she was smart, she would engage black men first, because black women's already supporting her. She should have went to the black men first and say, hey, what do I need? What does black men need? I got to give it to you. And she didn't talk to black men. You give us some plan, and it's the same recycled plan, just putting black men in it. And then talking about minorities and all kinds of things. So he couldn't take you seriously. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever Trump says, right, wrong, or indifferent, he stands on it. He don't flip his opinion. So Democrats, it's a new day. Black men are not playing games with y'all. If y'all don't get y'all act together, then there's going to be a President J.D. Vance in 4 years. Especially if Trump do good and the economy's looking great, you better believe black men going to vote for J.D. Vance when he run for president. Bottom line. So it's you better fix yourself. But I'm telling you, Democrats, stop all abortion, LGBT, and all that trans, and you have to throw that in the wayside. I mean, that could be your supporters. That's fine, but that cannot be your mantra. If you want black men, you be talking about some masculinity, not toxic masculinity, not calling us names. How you want somebody to vote for you with your name calling? And as you can see, men in general respect masculinity. A man, you say, okay, that's a real man right there. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. But this new trend, the way black men is voting, this is not just a one-off. This is a new day. And either Democrats you get with the new program or plan to continue.
Well, here's a story that's gotten no attention by the mainstream media. Why has the Internet Archive been under constant attack for the past few weeks? This is right out of 1984, where the department has to continually change the past in order to justify current situations in war of Big Brother and the party. It's terrifying. It's happening. Take a look at this. Over the last few weeks, if you visited archive.org, you might have noticed that it was down, inaccessible, up temporarily, and then back down again. Turns out it's been under one of the largest DDoS attacks we've ever seen. A DDoS is a denial of service attack, where bots continuously attack the server so that it goes down. Now, the Internet Archive basically is a clear archive of all internet websites and posts. It's how we know what has happened in recent history and distant history. It's really the only way of knowing when the corporate media lies to us, and then goes back to change pages. This is one of the reasons when we do our research on Redacted, we download things for ourselves. We screenshot for ourselves. We keep it somewhere that you don't get to know off server, because we know they're going to change that shit. And we will feel like, wait, that really happened, right? And we're constantly questioning ourselves. So anyhow, here's one example. The CDC recently changed the term vaccine quietly on its website. overnight, the CDC's vaccine definition changed from a product that stimulates a person's immune system to produce immunity to a specific disease to a now current definition of a preparation that's used to stimulate the body's immune system against a disease. And here's what the archive.org says, quote, as of this writing, we have no way to verify content that's been posted for 3 weeks of October, leading to the days of the most contentious and consequential election of our lifetime. In effect, the whole memory of our main information system is just a big black hole right now.
And it's happening as we speak.
Yeah.
So I saw someone in the chat said old news. No, it's still happening. It started back on October 8th. And it's still happening as of today, right before the election.
So we don't have a clear record of who said what, who was for what or what not. I mean, they're playing with our memory. They're saying things, especially the incumbents right now. The Democrats are saying that Trump is for a national abortion ban, and he's never said that. But they can easily write headlines that makes it so that he said that he's against IVF. He's not said that he's against gay, all of those kind of things. They are changing history right before our eyes, and we won't know what's real or not unless we save it all for ourselves. So that's terrifying.
Yeah, people delete their tweets and go back. And so now we have no record. So since October 8th, basically the internet has become a black hole.
Yeah.
Like we don't have a record of history at this moment. Isn't that crazy?
Right.
Where else are you going to get it? You're going to trust your government? We saw the rewriting of the official presidential transcripts when President Biden just the other day said that Trump supporters are the only floating pieces of garbage that he sees. And then they changed it. They changed the transcript. They added an apostrophe. They removed the apostrophe. Like they're playing with all of this. So we can go back in the Internet Archive and look at the exact White House transcript.
Right.
They've changed it and scrubbed it. So they're literally messing with us right now.
This is Orwellian.
Yes.
It was written down. And again, fiction as a legitimate warning.
Moscow, and he's going to give us another perspective.
Honor and a pleasure to be on the show.
So let's go here. Let's get right to the point. I mean, you know, we got lots to deal with. We got North Koreans running all over Russia. I don't even think there's any Russians anymore. I think there's just all North Koreans have taken over. The Russians have been replaced by North Koreans. Clones, maybe. I don't know. But at any rate, before we get to that the important stuff, and let's get back to, let's start with Trump from the perspective of your perspective, from your perch, as it were, knowing that you have a crow. I think that's the perfect word. From your perch in Moscow, how do you see all of this? Trump is here, and he's going to, in the snap of a finger, he's going to pick up the phone, he's going to call Putin, and he's going to end this thing once and for all. Mark.
Yeah, I think a lot of Trump supporters, and they deserve their celebration, their victory march, their vindication for those who supported him. I support neither candidate. I don't support any U.S. politicians. I hold them all in contempt. But for those who do, but I think his supporters seem to have some rather unrealistic expectations with regards to what he can and will do with the conflict in Ukraine. He quite famously predicted that he would end the conflict within 24 hours. I'm not sure when the time is actually supposed to start on that. If after he's inaugurated or now or whatever, but it's kind of moot. All right. So Trump is going to wave his magic wand. It's a really big wand. It's huge. It's so big, right? And that's it. It's going to be magic, and a conflict that has raged for 3 years is just suddenly going to magically come to an end.
Or maybe a conflict some of us might argue has raged since 1945.
There we go.
That's how I really looked at it. But continue.
Yeah, we're all gonna get together and sing Kumbaya and eat a Big Mac and fries together, evidently.
We'll freeze the contact line. The Russians will be happy to allow us to continue to pump arms into Ukraine, and the goose steppers, while they'll be happy, and there'll be it'll be like a Russia, and then we'll just move on and pretend like nothing happened. Come on, things happen, Mark.
No. So I mean, yeah, we've had a piece in the Financial Times supposedly talking to anonymous figures close to Trump in his campaign and now his transition team. And it echoes what we have seen previously from Trump surrogates, past and present, like Mike Pompeo, who have written previously about a deal plan, right? This is the Trump deal that he will present to Putin. And at least according to the Wall Street Journal Financial Times, it includes a freeze of the conflict along the current battlefield lines, a demilitarized zone that will be policed by European troops.
You can try them.
Yeah.
How about this? They're there already. In a not so clandestine manner. They're there fighting. They're not policing.
A promise that that Ukraine will not join NATO for 20 years because promises, mean so much. And you're right. And the U.S. will keep pumping arms into Ukraine, right? Unless they don't agree to the peace deal, in which the arms will be withheld until they agree to it. Okay, so Russia has. Let's address these things. Russia has said no ceasefire. They have no interest in a ceasefire. They're not going to give the West time to rearm, retrain, refortify the Kiev regime, right? There can be a settlement of the conflict on Russia's terms, but no ceasefire. Russia, no. Red line right there. No ceasefire. Even if diplomatic negotiations begin, no ceasefire unless the Kiev regime pulls all of its remaining troops out of the Donbass, out of Kherson, out of Zaporozhye, and commits to never joining NATO, right? Then the serious negotiations about the rest can begin, right? That Russia will agree for a ceasefire then. Until then, no ceasefire. So with regards to, as you pointed out, some type of demilitarized zone with EU troops, Russia's been fighting Europeans for the last 2.5 years. They've been killing. Europeans have been killing Russians, and Russians have been killing Europeans, whether they're quote unquote mercenaries, unquote, the fact that they aren't officially in uniform. We know that all the US and all European countries have troops on the ground, right? This was admitted by the Western media back in the summer of 2022 in the New York Times and everything. Oh yeah, they're special forces, they're specialists, they're European commandos. Olaf Scholz says, the ones operating these high-end systems like the Storm Shadows, like the HIMARS, that these are all people from the UK in the one case, the United States in the other, right? So why would Russia ever seriously, think that Europeans could somehow be kind of neutral troops? They're the enemy, right? The US is the enemy. The Russian presidential spokesman said it just in the last 24 hours, Peskov. Russia is, or better to say, the United States is both directly and indirectly at war with Russia, right? So no EU troops, no buffer zone, nothing of that the U.S. dictates, nothing of the sort. There's been an idea that Trump might dangle a carrot of removing sanctions. First of all, the majority of the sanctions would have to be removed by Congress, not by the president, right? And although Trump, the Republicans will have control of both houses of Congress, the House and the Senate, the majority of the Republicans in the House supported all these sanctions, right? And they will not support their removal, right? That this is a political issue in the United States. And they could drag on for years. And actually, sanctions in Europe are probably actually far more important for Russia because Russia did far more business with Europe than it did from the United States. And there's no appetite for that among the main European countries. They are screaming that they want to continue the war against Russia, the proxy war, even if the U.S. drops out with Trump. So, all of these things, here's the reality. Russia does not want peace. They don't want a peace deal. They're winning, right? Why should they accept Trump dictated terms, right? And we've seen, ideas of what these terms would be. Russia's terms have been clearly dictated, right? The Kiev regime has lost the Donbass, Kherson, Zaporozhye, and Crimea. Referendums were held. The people chose to be part of Russia. That's done, right? They're enshrined in the Russian Constitution, right? There's no going back on that. The demilitarization, the denazification of the Kiev regime, right? Meaning that I prefer to refer to it as the debanderization, to be more specific, Banderite fascism, but that is fine. Ukraine does not join NATO ever. The constitutionally enshrined neutrality that they had before the 2014 West-backed Maidan Putsch needs to be restored. And a lot of other details need to be worked out. And it has also been mentioned that all Western sanctions need to go away, right? That's the peace that Russia will accept. And there's been no indication in the last almost 3 years now that they will accept anything less. And they insist that they won't, right? They're winning. Why should they accept less? Why should they accept terms dictated by Trump simply because he came to power? Now, Trump has suggested that if Putin doesn't agree to his magnanimous deal, that he'll flood Ukraine with weapons.
Where are they going to get them from? I thought we were out of weapons.
What weapons? Where's he going to get them from? Because Joe Biden already flooded Ukraine with weapons. And if he had any more weapons to give that are useful to the Kiev regime, he already would have given them, right? They're now getting maintenance packages on monthly production because the Pentagon stockpiles of anything they could have without more seriously affecting the readiness of U.S. troops is gone. And Trump has also admitted this fact in other commentary, right? We're talking artillery shells, we're talking air defense interceptor missiles, right? All of these things that the Kiev regime needs and many more. And the U.S. isn't producing enough of them and doesn't have the ability to rapidly ramp up production in any time frame that would make any sense with regards to this conflict, as the representatives of the U.S. military complex have made clear in the Western press. So that threat, that bluff of Trump's, is toothless, right? And Russia knows it. Russia knows it very well. So the other, the lion in the room is that if Trump decides to escalate to de-escalate, if Putin says no, right? And Trump is convinced by, I don't know, he's talking about bringing Mark Rubio in as Secretary of State and Mike Pompeo as Secretary of Defense. And if they convince him to escalate to de-escalate, well, does that involve putting NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine? Well, if it does, Russia's been killing NATO forces for the last 3 years. It's not going to stop just because they're in uniform. Because the reality is, for this land-centric, artillery-heavy war of attrition being fought on Russia's border, Russia will always have escalation superiority. If NATO doesn't have enough artillery shells and air defense interceptor missiles for their proxies in Kiev, how are they going to have enough to outfit 100 or 200 or 300,000 NATO troops, which wouldn't do anything because, according to the Kiev regime, Russia now has 800,000 troops in Ukraine, right? Volunteer contract soldiers, fully trained. So unless the U.S. is willing, dealing with its imperial overstretch, to strip all of its troops and planes and resources out of the Pacific, abandon Taiwan, abandon the Middle East, pull all of its forces from all around the world to fight Russia in its backyard, then it doesn't have a chance. And if it's willing to do that under Trump, right, well, then it has a chance, but I would still say not a very good one, to be perfectly honest. So I find, the idea that Russia would agree to Trump's terms, it's fanciful. And the Russian government has been more than clear about this. And we should also be clear that the Kiev regime doesn't want these terms either, right? It's still screaming, Zelensky and the entire regime class, about the restoration of the 91 borders, right? And even as they ban the Russian Orthodox Church and strip the Russian language from the majority, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, not even the Russian Orthodox Church, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, right? Just because, it was once ecclesiastically connected to Russia at one point in time, to the Russian Orthodox Church. It's this type of oppression is going on in the ground. And that's another one of Russia's key demands, is that the Kiev regime needs to stop the cultural, social, linguistic, political, religious oppression of the Russian minority and the very large percentage of Ukrainians that are also Russian speaking and adhere to churches and political parties that have been banned by the Kiev regime, which are practically innumerable at this point. So, but because of the Banderite fascists, Azov and Kraken and Centuria and Right Sector, and the number is endless. And these people are in the Rada, in the intelligence services, Budanov heading up the military intelligence. They will not accept any terms dictated by Trump either. So neither Ukraine nor Russia want or will accept Trump's deal. And the reality is that aside from a very close circle of Trump and some of the people in his campaign, presumably then in his transition team, that the U.S. political class doesn't want to end the war on any terms except its own either. Right? I mean, there was broad bipartisan consensus, not just from Democrats, but from Republicans in Congress for all of this. So Trump would also have to fight his own party in Congress. So these are the reasons. It's simply impossible. Trump may have some good intentions, right? Maybe. I don't want to get into his motivations, but the reality is that a U.S. president has very limited power to change foreign and military policy, right? That is in reality the purview of what Ben Rhodes called the blob, the foreign policy elite. You want to call it the deep state, the permanent bureaucracy. They make the decisions and they present a very limited range of options to the president, who comes into office thinking one thing and then finds out he doesn't have the power that he thought he did. So Trump doesn't have a magic wand. He's not going to end the conflict in Ukraine in 24 hours or 24 days. I don't know, maybe 24 months. That's a possibility, but it may wind down of its own accord, possibly by that time, possibly not. So I think, again, for those people out there who are Trump supporters, yeah, okay, do your victory lap, celebrate, but be realistic about not only this. conflict, but also the conflict raging in the Middle East. There's been conflict raging in the Middle East since before I and most of the rest of us out there were born, maybe a few old ones. And Trump isn't going to solve that problem either. He's already had one administration, and the Russian-U.S. relations at the end of his first term were the worst that they had been up until that point. So
yeah, well, you know, look, the Brits in Africa and the Middle East, they were raising hell. They were bombing Europe, Yemen. They were drawing all kinds of lines across tribal grounds that caused all kind of conflict. You know what I mean? So the Great Britain was screwing things up in Africa and the Middle East, and they just passed the baton to the U.S. to continue to do this, do that. The thing is this, I think, Mark, and to me, this is kind of simple. I would say it's not that Russia doesn't want peace. Here, I put it a different way. Same thing. If you're winning a fight, you don't need a resolution. The guy that's losing needs the resolution. The Trump people would have to come in and they would have to act in a manner that accepted what Sergei Lavrov keeps saying, realities on the ground, right? The idea that, okay, I'll strike this kind of deal and that kind of deal would be fine if there was a stalemate or blah, blah, blah. If one side is dominating and destined to victory, right? They're going to get what they want, whether you are involved or not. They're going to get it now. They will impose their will on the other side. That is now clearly and obviously the trajectory in which we are headed, right? And you come on and say, I'm going to get a deal. That deal has to take into account this trajectory, right? The realities on the ground, they're going to win. So now I got to go to you. I can't say it out loud, but it has to be basically this. Look, I know you're going to win. You know you're going to win. Everybody knows you're going to win. I need an out. With that kind of power dynamic, which is realistic, I'm coming to you saying, what can I do to get out of this? I got to give you not give you. I've got to acknowledge that you got the steering wheel in your hand, that you don't need a deal. And that if I don't give you what you want, see, they're still talking, well, we're going to say this. And if they don't do this, we'll do that. We threaten. You got nothing to threaten with. And it just gets back continually to what Lavrov keeps saying. We're ready to talk. We always been ready to talk. Just acknowledge the realities on the ground. Let's go back and dig out that little document that we wrote up back in December of 2021. And we're ready to talk. Because this is important, I think, what I just said. Look, Russia didn't say this is just about Ukraine. They said, we want a security deal on our border with Europe. We're tired of playing this stinking game where you're going Finland and then Sweden and you're putting bases and there could be missiles in Poland. We're tired of that game. Let's come up with a resolution that Ukraine's not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. You're expanding to our damn border and you're giving us hell and we're sick of it. Mark.
You're right. You're right. I mean, that's what they've iterated since before this conflict began. They continue to say it. Their idea of a resolution of this conflict is a common European security architecture. And actually, they've gone beyond that. They've said a common Eurasian security architecture, which would technically include China,
yes,
and India as well, which is to say that the Kremlin right now is looking at any long-term resolution of this conflict will be and must be a global order changing event, which is pretty ambitious. You know, it's not, as you said, just about Ukraine, and it's not just about Russia's security. It's about Eurasian security for everyone. And I have to admit that might be too ambitious, but at least, you know, if you're shooting for the moon, right? If anyone's going to hit it, it'll probably be, you know, it might be Putin.
If I may, Mark, I don't, yes, it's ambitious, but I don't see an alternative. Let me explain. We all know what the game is. We're going to take out Russia and then we're going to get China, right? That's the neocons thing. That's the project. First, we got to take Russia and take all their resources, and then we got China by the short and curlies. We can cut off all the stuff that they need and blah blah blah. So this is I think it's realism by Russia. It's a recognition that this is about the world order. This is about the U.S. maintaining a hegemony that they've already lost. Right? We're going to take out Russia. We're going to go after China. Okay. Well, if you make a deal with them, let's say Russia will give you everything you want. Why? So now we can go after China. Now, it didn't work taking out Russia first. We'll now take China out first. Now, once we get China, then we can go back to Russia. It's just a matter of the order you're going to eat your meal. No, young lady, you're not going to eat your cake first. You got to eat your vegetables, and then you can have your pudding, right? So they're either the vegetables or they're the pudding. Do they get eaten first? So for them to say, we're going to make a deal on our border, go ahead and take out China, and now we'll deal with that, is to say, we're just kicking the can down the road so you can deal with China and come back to fight us. I think it's a recognition that the U.S. has made it clear. It's full spectrum attack. This is a project to rule the world. So I think Russia's just saying, we understand it's a project to rule the world, and we're not going to let you reorder the menu. We're getting off the menu, or we're going to fight until we close the damn menu and go to another restaurant.
I've long said that there's only 3 flavors of politician, particularly in foreign policy terms. In you're not just politician, but also the permanent workers within the security state in the United States, right? All 3 of them want war with Russia, China, and Iran to maintain and extend U.S.-led Western global hegemony. Just according to their each individual specialties, right, and interests, they prioritize a war with one of those countries over the other. And that's the flavor. That obviously the Newland clan has ruled the roost up until a few months ago. The idea that the Biden administration would be able to quickly defeat Russia, crush its economy with sanctions, and pivot hard to China while ignoring the Middle East, that didn't work out so well, right? Pretty much all of that failed. But now we're hearing a lot of refrain coming out of the people within the Trump campaign, because while to some degree, right, again, the terms are what's matter, but they want peace with Russia, but that's so that they can go to war with China and or India, right? And they're reasserting this a kind of China hawk dream, if you will, that what they need to do is make peace with Russia so that Russia stops being allies with China and the U.S. can then take out China. That's not going to happen, right? Russia, China, and Iran, they've seen the writing on the wall. They know that Trump presidencies come and go in 4 years, and the next president doesn't care whether whatever they agreed to was a pinky swear, whether it was written in ink on paper or whether it was written in their blood. It doesn't make any difference. It's all tossed aside by the next administration. So Russia is well aware that in many ways the first Cold War was probably lost because of the U.S. exploiting the Sino-Soviet split. They're not going to let that happen again. And look, we've already seen a bit of it. Every leader in the world is going to do what it takes to butter Trump up a bit, right? Because there's nothing that man loves more than butter, carefully applied to certain parts of his anatomy, I guess. He's entirely susceptible to flattery, right? And everyone understands that. So they'll play that game. They might even pretend, to be moving in a certain direction. But behind closed doors, there is not going to be any geopolitical realignment that involves Russia moving away from China or Iran or anything of the sort, right? It's it's live and die together at this point for the rest of the world against U.S.-led Western global hegemony, and they're sensing blood in the water, right? They're sensing opportunity. The U.S. not only can't take down all three of them at once, but it's looking increasingly that it can't even take down any one of them at once. All right, and at least certainly not through proxies. And the conflicts in Ukraine and in the Middle East are showing that more and more every day.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's move on to one of my favorite guys, a man who had the spine of jello, Olaf Scholz. A guy who, I mean, he had so little testosterone in his body, he could have been Kamala Harris's VP and replaced Tim Walz, right? This guy is a real piece of work. And things seem to be going awry for the Scholz coalition. What's happening in Germany? Annalena Baerbock, is she going to do a 360 again? I guess she's a ballerina, a political ballerina. What the hell's going on? Who would have saw that? They abandoned the people, starved them, screwed them out of their jobs. They're freezing them to death. Who could possibly imagine that there could have been a political backlash for such brilliant political tactics? Mark Svoboda.
Yeah, I have to admit with you, Olaf Scholz positively makes Waltz look like a manly man.
Right.
He really does, which is an accomplishment. So yeah, if you'll remember, I distinctly remember Annalena Baerbock, the German foreign minister, and the number 2 of the rabidly anti-Russian, anti-Chinese, pro-US Green Party in Germany, part of Olaf Scholz's coalition, right? And it's been clear for a long time that she is the one who actually wears the breeches in that particular coalition government. She said that I don't care what my voters want, I will support Ukraine to the end. She said, not paraphrasing, she said exactly that, pretty much, right? And so there was no hiding it. So, I mean, Germany has really done itself a number with these sanctions. As the Hungarian Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, so adroitly put it, it's not a matter that Europe shot itself in the foot with these sanctions, the backlash with these sanctions against Russia. It's that they shot themselves in the lungs. And there's no quick coming back. And on top of that, they were obviously fully complicit and obviously agreed to the destruction of the Nord Stream pipelines, bringing the relatively cheap and reliable gas that made Germany's export economy competitive and successful. Now that's all gone. Germany is deindustrializing. Volkswagen is shutting down car factories all over Germany. German companies, high-end companies, are moving to the U.S. where the energy costs are relatively cheaper. And the German government is facing a 9 billion euro at least budget hole. And the fragile government that they had a 3-way coalition between Olaf Scholz's SPD, the Socialist Party, although they really don't deserve that name as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. The Greens, led in this respect, Annalena Baerbock is number 2, but she's obviously the most vocal. And the third partner is Germany's Free Democratic Party, which is a neoliberal pro-business party, right? Their leader, Christian Lindner, kind of the quiet one of the coalition government. He's quietly been Germany's finance minister. And evidently, over the last few weeks, the German government has been trying to figure out how to balance its budget and still pay billions, tens of billions of dollars more to the Kiev regime in Ukraine, especially with the fear that the United States will leave them hanging dry and Europe will have to pick up the whole load. Here's the thing. According to Germany's constitution, within a certain period of time, they have to balance the budget.
Right.
So they went to Christian Lindner, the finance minister, Olaf Scholz, and Annalena Baerbock, and they're like, well, how about we just let the Constitution slide, right? And we just agree that we're going to provide billions of more euros to Ukraine, and we just do some hocus pocus, look in the other direction, wave the magic wand over this, and you call it kosher. And Christian Lindner, I think he's scenting the death of this coalition and to some extent, perhaps Project Ukraine. And he said no. He said, I'm not doing that. So Olaf Scholz fired him. That has triggered and the rest of his members, left the coalition. So that will trigger a vote of no confidence in the current government, which I believe is scheduled for January. And almost certainly following that, there will then be snap elections. Now, here's the problem, though, because Germany is one of these center-right, center-left managed democracies. The most probable result of a snap election is that the anti-support for Kiev regime parties, the quote-unquote far-right Alternative for Germany, and the quote-unquote far-left Sarah Wagenknecht party, they will both do well, but they won't do well enough to take power. And so what you'll see is Angela Merkel's old party, the Christian Democratic Union, right, the center-right, they will emerge as the largest player. And almost certainly they will end up forging another grand coalition government with Olaf Scholz's SPD, probably without Olaf Scholz at that point. And they will continue support for Ukraine, no matter how detrimental that is to Germany, to the German people, because they don't have, as far as their political ideology sees the world, any other options. They just can't make peace with Russia. They can't do it. They can't admit they were wrong. They certainly can't admit that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline and that they just agreed to it. So we may well see the German people vote out the current bums and vote for change, and get the current bums and no change.
Well, so here's the thing, and this is something I've been discussing. The UK, oh, we've had it with the Labour, let's vote in the Tories. Okay, the Tories in. Oh, darn, those Tories had enough of them. Keir Starmer will usher in a revolutionary change. Uh-oh, right? And now what do? The Tories have now come back up where they're now matching the Labour in, the polls. Best of luck, guys. Go back to the Tories. Let's see how that works, right? Now, you've got the U.S., right? And so you've got, man, we're sick of the Democrats because, all they do is yes, we've got the black male voters between the age of 17 and 29 who wear hats and like soccer. That's a demographic versus, so they make these weird demographics that they invent, right? So they talk about that, but you get the Democrats that says we're opposed to world imperial, we're the world imperialist and we're proud of it. And then Trump comes in and says, yeah, I'm sick of those damn imperial, well, I'm sick of war. I'll be in. You know what Trump's going to do? He can't do much other than the Democrats. So the people are going to say, we've been saved, we've got Trump in, and 6 months from now, they'll scratch their heads and go, geez, we seem to be kind of getting the same thing we're getting before, right? There's a dynamic going on in what I call the U.S. empire, because the UK, because Canada, because Germany are just colonies, right? The empire is deteriorating from the outside in. So the UKs and the Germanys, as the people realize, it's a setup. They've created the illusion of multiple parties, but they've set it up so we can only get the same thing no matter which so-called party gets in. That's coming home 6 months to a year from now. All of this elation about Trump saving the day, people are going to start asking, why am I getting the same thing? And I think that's what you're going to look at. That's going to be the undoing of the U.S. empire. I always believe this. Empires, their fear is never the outside. It's always internal uprising. And they end up screwing their people so bad that that's the kind of thing that ultimately undoes them, is the people realizing, well, it's just like Europe. I mean, it's just like the UK, it's just like Germany. They've set up this illusion of multiple parties. And even if there are multiple parties, the environment, the dynamics have been set up. So no matter what happens, the same coalition, the same mentality will maintain in power. And that's kind of what I think of the UK, of Germany, and then ultimately us, Mark. And I mean the US.
Yeah, it's the old, it's with the managed democracy. It's the center right, center left shuffle, right? You don't want Coke this election season. How about this Pepsi? I mean, it's completely different. Of course it is. But it has to be said that in Europe they are nearly in several countries, not all of Europe, but in several of the most important countries, they're nearly at the breaking point of that triangulation of the center right, center left shuffle. In France, it took all of the rest of the parties maneuvering politically to keep Marine Le Pen's National Front or Mélenchon's far left party out of power, right? And they only managed to just kick the can down the road in France. They really have a very weak non-government, essentially. The same thing in the Netherlands with Geert Wilder's quote unquote far right. And we've seen this dramatic rise in the vote share in Germany of the Alternative for Germany and Sarah Wagner-Knech's far left party. They're nearly at the breaking point. They're not there yet, right? The center right, center left, they managed to just hang on and prevent the radical change that would really be necessary to change the status quo politically, geopolitically, economically. But it's not going to take much more in terms of damage, the declining living standards, some type of big event to push these countries over the line. France, Germany, those are the two
UK,
most
Netherlands,
UK is solidly locked into the center right, center left shuffle. There's no room for maneuver. Jeremy Corbyn was the possibility there, and they anti-Zionized him, right? I mean, the old anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, therefore Jeremy Corbyn is a Jew hater. I mean, that's what they did to him. And they did it well, and the BBC and everyone else just played right along with it. He was the only hope for a break there, and his own party, Keir Starmer, was instrumental in torpedoing him. So UK, not so much, but France, Germany, Italy, possibly a few other countries, not quite as important as the Netherlands. And, we have seen two successes in Hungary and in Slovakia, and possibly Austria is another one that could, of its own accord at this moment, break out of the orthodoxy dictated by US-led Western global hegemony.
Yeah, the interesting thing is we're told this right, left, one side's good, one side bad. But when I look at the two countries, right, you've got Fico in Slovakia, who's, an old school lefty, kind of hails his legacy back from Soviet Union days, communist, what I mean, to some extent, right? So but they hate his butt, but he kind of pushes back against the whatever you want to call them, the globalist, imperialist, whatever term you want to use. So they tried to kill him literally, right? And then Orban, a guy who's an old school conservative, right? And he pushes back, and he better watch his back. Those are the two people they hate. So really, it's not about right and left.
No, it's not.
Old school lefty who says, nah, I got to look out for Slovakians, and an old school right winger who says, I got to look out for Hungarians. You look at them and you're like, those guys seem to be making the most sense. And they piss off the EU, the von der Leyen maggots. They piss them off the worst. And you can't say it's because one is right or left. It's their position that says, perhaps the leader of the country should look out for the people in his country. That's what's unacceptable. Independence, sovereignty. I think that's what pisses him off the most.
Absolutely, right? When you have a center right and a center left, a hegemonic, triangulated political center, where the right seems more like the liberals and the liberals seem more like the old conservative right, and there's no difference between the two of them. When you've got that triangulated hegemony, the only way to move that, to get it out really effectively, is for everything outside of that, the far left, the alternative right, to recognize that it's a circle that surrounds that triangle. It's not a matter of left and right more. Those are 20th century political ways of thinking. People need to understand that you don't have to agree on everything, right? No one agrees on everything, but you have more politically in common on the left with many people on the alternative right than you do with the liberals, right, who call themselves left on the inside of that hegemonic, power trading, corporate backed neoliberal triangulation of power that prevents real change in countries from occurring. And when people realize, when they break themselves out of that right left mode and realize, hey, if the elites can break out of the right left and make deals with each other to trade and maintain power, then we can do the same thing.
Lastly, and this is critical. So as my understanding is, there are no Russians left in Russia. They have all been replaced by North Koreans. Russian military was wiped out long ago. I understand they lost 1 million men a day until they were all done. And now it's North Korea all the way down. What do we need to know about the Washington Post's and New York Times claims that Russia has, I guess their military is so weak and they're so short of fighters that they had to, what were they going to do, Mark? They had to replace all of their fighters with North Korea. What's going on with that, Mark?
I see Asian people. This is or take it, Red Dawn, Wolverine.
Oh, yeah,
right?
there we go.
There we go, right? For the remake anyway. So so this fiction, right? That they've even claimed that these invisible North Korean super soldiers have already been engaged in battle with the Kiev regime banderites, and the Kiev regime won. Right? What is the proof of this? I mean, where's the evidence? Is there some satellite photos? Is some prisoners of war? Nothing, right? This is, as far as I'm concerned, a propaganda hoax that the Kiev regime inflated up as another attempt to try to force NATO to send troops to conduct long-range strikes into Russia. All of these things that NATO was refusing to do. And they thought, well, surely if North Korea gets involved. Now, what's actually happening is, yes, Russia and North Korea just signed what is in effect a military alliance, right? A mutual, a strategic partnership with a mutual defense clause. And there are almost certainly North Korean troops in Russia, right? They're working on interoperability. They're doing training. They haven't done any of this. Russia and North Korea haven't done military drills since before the fall of the Soviet Union, which is why North Korean troops are not going to be involved in this conflict. There's zero interoperability between Russia and North Korea. There's not enough people that speak each other's language, right? Certainly not within the militaries to facilitate this. This is why NATO, speaking, dozens of different languages, have, for decades been doing drills to try to iron it out. And I can tell you, at least from the last NATO drills that I participated in, it's a bit of a cluster F, right? It doesn't actually work that well. And this is why Russia and China are doing military exercises practically every other month at this point to build that up. So Russia doesn't need the manpower. Even the Kiev regime admits Russia has some 800,000 troops in Ukraine, right? Those are Kiev's numbers, not Russia's, right? Syrskyi, nonetheless. They don't need the manpower. They don't need the diplomatic political baggage that would make India and Brazil, push more for some type of peace deal or something like that. There would be zero military advantage to this. Russian and North Korean troops just started working together. Now, they're probably behind the lines. They're probably logisticians, probably combat engineers, maybe drone operators. They're watching what the Russians are doing, organizing this war, a war against a near-peer competitor. I think we can consider NATO a near-peer competitor of Russia at this point, right? They're not quite in the same league, but they're almost. They're near peers, right? Let's get some condescension going the other way. North Korea, this is incredibly valuable military experience that North Korean troops can get on the ground by watching, by observing what the Russians are doing. And Zelensky is just inflating this out of all proportion in order to try to finagle the West into giving him more of what they've already denied him. NATO troops, NATO strikes deep in Russia. And despite because they can't admit that he's a liar, they've gone along with this, right? Yeah, sure. The North Koreans, they're invisible super soldiers are fighting there. Can't you see them? But have they given? I mean, do you really think that the West would do nothing if North Korea suddenly entered the conflict? Right? That they wouldn't at least send more arms, send their own troops, launch, some type of new sanctions against North Korea. None of that is happening. Why? Because there's really no fighting with North Korean troops going on. Russia does not need. This is all just, another propaganda exercise, right? I'm waiting for the AI videos. Here's the reality. Russia has Asian looking people, right? They're not all white European looking. It's a country, the largest country in the world, with over 200 ethnicities. There's all kinds of Russian ethnics from Buryatia, from the Chukchi peoples, all these types of Siberian peoples that they don't look North Korean. But, to a racist kind of eye, any Asian could be North Korean, right? And that's where the Kiev regime is presenting this. And it's actually been a part of the Banderite propaganda going back all the way to 2014. They constantly refer to Russia and Russians as a Mongoloid Asiatic horde that they are protecting Europe from. That's part of the Banderite ideology. And this is, almost certainly what is going to be trumped and jimmied up. They're going to capture some Russian soldier from Buryatia and point a gun to his head and say, I serve Kim Jong-un. Yeah, okay, just don't shoot me in the back of the head, man. Right? I mean, that's what we're going to be facing at some point down the line. But it's not convincing, and the non-reaction in real terms from the West to give what the Kiev regime, what it's now demanding, with what they claim is a massive escalation to involve a new country, North Korea, directly in this conflict. The fact that nothing is changing should, in everyone's mind, reassure you that this is not Red Dawn. This is not Sixth Sense. No, you don't really see North Koreans. This is all smoke and mirrors.
Well, here's the other part. I think when we see these things, they play into a number of tropes, a number of narratives, right? There's all this crap. Every time you see a lie, it's pushing narratives. Here's one of the narratives. Russia's got in trouble. Russia's weak. Russia needs help. Russia's losing so many people. Because let's face it, if you're winning, you don't need to bring. I mean, you know, if you're winning overwhelmingly and you've got everything you need and you've got all the support you need and you're able to maintain the conflict indefinitely, which I believe Russia is at this time. I believe they've settled in industrially, as far as manpower, et cetera. So they're like, okay, we can continue to protect our border, because that's, I think, the way Russia sees it. We are defending our border. You've got a physical border, but you've got a strategic border. And I think Russia says we're defending our strategic border. How close can we let other hostile forces get to our border? We can't. It's like this. It's like in self-defense, right? You can't let somebody get right here. You can't let them get close enough to you that they could stab you. You either have to back away, you know what I mean? Or if somebody gets within so close to you that they could hurt you, you have to reserve the right to strike first. Oh, by the way, Putin's a black belt. Makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, my point being that a narrative where Russia brings in North Korean troops is also a narrative where Russia is weak and they need help. And you're stronger.
I can hear it now. We would have won in Kursk, right? We had Russia on the ropes, but then Kim Jong-un's invisible super soldier showed up and we just couldn't hold the line anymore, right? Never mind that they've already lost more than 50% of their incursion point. We would have won if it hadn't been for Kim Jong-un, damn it.
Yes, if it hadn't been for those meddling kids and their stupid dog, yeah, right? We would have won. Rut-row raggy, you ain't winning. You ain't winning. It ain't happening. Well, Mark Sabota, thanks a lot. This has been great, man. I've learned a lot. Look forward to getting you back. I think it's important right now with all the elation.
First, Larry, because you wrote about this very passionately in your posting this morning or late last night on Sonar 21. If Donald Trump is seriously considering for the national security appointees, that's the Department of State, the Department of Defense, and the National Security Advisor who works in the White House, people like Marco Rubio, Mike Pompeo, Tom Cotton, Nikki Haley, Rick Grenell. Will that tell us that he has learned nothing in the past 8 years?
Well, I wouldn't put Grenell in that group because Grenell, unlike those other three, has been quite loyal and supportive of Trump over the years.
But my question is aimed, I know you're furious at Pompeo for not being loyal. And the evidence of that is ample. But my question is aimed at their neocon bellicose tendencies.
Yeah, well, with respect to what we're seeing are the neocons in D.C. went to the media and they put the story out that Donald Trump was considering these. I don't think it's true. Particularly when you look at Tucker Carlson and his close relationship with Trump. That has been solidified over the last 3 months. Carlson's on the record calling Pompeo a criminal who ought to be prosecuted. So you can imagine that Tucker's whispering in Donald's ear with respect to that. Similarly, Jack Posobiec and others have been just excoriating Pompeo for his past comments where he refused to defend Donald Trump in a bogus case that was being brought by the special prosecutor Jack Smith over classified documents, refused to speak out on Donald Trump's behalf, accusing him of being a January 6th insurrectionist, the leader of that. So you're right that if in fact he was considering these people, it would be, he might as well hang his presidency up because they will undermine him. But I think this is one of those information operations where everybody puts out and says, "Oh yeah, I'm under consideration," except only in their own mind. Trump demonstrated with his first pick Susie Wiles as his chief of staff, that he's not going for the glitz and glamour like he did in 2017. 2017, he went with the old boys club, Reince Priebus, and all these other characters who were basically deep staters. She's not a deep stater. She comes from outside, and she ran a hell of a campaign.
And her father was the greatest kicker the New York Giants ever had, a guy by the name of Pat Summerall. I didn't know that until this morning. I
Judge, I'd
remember
like to add-
hugging
I'd like-
Pat Summerall as a kid. Before you weigh in on this, Ray, here is one of those neocons trying to shed his neocon image as he makes a pitch to be named Secretary of State. Cut number 9, Chris.
Who wants war? What he's talking about is he wants the war to end. Now, as a businessman, he's not going to tell you about his negotiating tactic to bring it to a close, but I don't understand why we would not want a war like that to end. They don't admit it publicly, but if you ask the Biden administration, they will tell you we are funding a stalemate. Okay, I think the Ukrainians have been incredibly brave and strong and standing up to Russia. But at the end of the day, what we are funding here is a stalemate war, and it needs to be brought to a conclusion because that country is going to be set back 100 years. Now, that doesn't mean that we celebrate what Vladimir Putin did or are excited about it, but I think there has to also be some common sense here, and that is that right now what we are funding is a stalemate that's costing lives and, you know, putting Ukraine, it's going to take 100 years to rebuild that poor country with everything they're facing.
Is he whistling a different tune than he was whistling on the floor of the Senate when he voted in favor of every one of those financial giveaways, Ray McGovern?
Of course, young Marco is plumbing for the job of Secretary of State. I think Larry is exactly right. They're putting out these rumors. But I think the most conclusive proof that it might be a happier ending for Trump with respect to his selectees is when he was on Joe Rogan's show about 3 weeks ago. I listened to the whole thing, let's say. And when he was asked by Joe, do you regret anything? Did you make any mistakes? He said, oh, did I make mistakes? I came into Washington. I didn't know anybody. And the people I picked were really bad. Most of them, some of them were all right, but so, yeah, I made mistakes of picking the wrong people and they did me in and not going to make that mistake again. So I think that argues from the horse's mouth, that argues in favor of Trump, having learned a lot during those 4 years and subsequently. I think I'd be really careful against picking the likes of Rubio as well as the other ones mentioned before.
Well, if he picks Pompeo, it would cause a major conflagration amongst many of his people, typified by Larry, who ardently supported him. Do you think, Larry? Well, Larry, let me ask you this: who really runs American foreign policy? The president, the Secretary of State, the intelligence community? Who makes the decisions that affect the lives of foreign governments every day?
Well, it can ultimately be the president. It just depends on, whether they're going to exercise judgment and leadership. I know that I know specifically from somebody who was involved with the decision that Donald Trump made to kill the Iranian General Soleimani, that initially that wasn't Trump's idea. That wasn't Trump's insistence. But he got so much pressure from the Department of Defense, from the National Security Advisor, who I believe was John Bolton at the time, and from the CIA, that he caved. So, you got to step back and say, okay, who made policy there? Well, in that case, Trump caved and allowed that to go forward. So it really, Trump has got a unique opportunity here. And I'm not some big Trump fanboy, but historically, we've never had anybody like Donald Trump where he has faced the kind of intense lawfare over the last 7 years where they tried to put him in prison, charged him with everything possible. And yet, despite all of that, and despite now clear evidence that the 2020 election was stolen from him, yet he's still standing and he avoided an assassin's bullet. And with all of that, he hasn't come out as some bitter, angry guy. We saw at the Al Smith dinner, he was making good-natured comments about Chuck Schumer, who had not had a kind word to say about Trump for some time.
And who they
Kind
seated
words for
next-
Eric Adams
and
and,
who
and
they
Catherine
seated
Holt.
who they seated Chuck next to Trump. It's probably the closest he's ever been to him. He didn't have much of a choice.
Oh yeah, but he patted him on the back. So,
Yeah, I
but my
agree.
point is, and then surviving that assassination attempt, he saw God. He suddenly realized, you know what? I may not live forever.
Ray, what can the intelligence community do to undermine the president?
Well, I would have answered the question you gave to Larry. The president rarely can make these decisions and make them stick. John Kennedy was the first one to try that. And you know what happened to John Kennedy. He was going soft on communism and he was going soft on the military-industrial complex. These days, the military-industrial complex and the military itself pretty much run things, okay? And that can be bad, it can be good. It's good when the military finally faced up to the fact that they can't get involved in a wider war in Ukraine and told the president, look, no more long-range missile permission for strikes deep inside or 300 kilometers inside Russia. That was good. But this time, we don't know how the military is going to react. The last time they slow-walked Trump. He said, I want to get out of Afghanistan. And they disobeyed him. And that's on the record. I have lots of contacts that have direct access. They slow walked Biden. And when Biden finally said, okay, I'm going to do it, then they sabotaged him by pulling out of the only place they could defend, Bagram Air Force Base. And so these ones that have left now, thank goodness, they can sabotage things. It'll be interesting to see who Trump picks to be top military people, as well as top intelligence people, whether they will stand on their own 2 feet and tell him when he's wrong or not. Well, that would be something new, but my hopes have been, well, they've been dashed often, but maybe hope it springs eternal.
Yes, our hopes have been dashed. Larry, is Trump stuck with the chiefs of each military staff, the chief of staff of the Army, the commander of naval operations, the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? He can't fire them because he doesn't like them, or can he?
He's the commander in chief. He can decide who serves. They don't have a life sinecure. They don't have any entitled.
They've been confirmed by the Senate. Do they have a time? They have a tenure in office?
No. He can pull them anytime he wants. That's what commander in chief means. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Mark Milley reactivated, brought back in, and court-martialed, because he's on the record he was insubordinate, disobeyed a lawful order, and bragged about it. So, and I've heard from several friends in the military, and they and their fellow officers are saying they want to see him brought back in and basically dragged before court and then lined up and shot. They feel that strongly about it, what he did. It was disgraceful. So no, listen, Trump's gonna, he's gonna need a cleaning crew, because when he goes in first day, FBI, toss him out, DOJ, toss him out, CIA, toss him, DOD, toss him. I mean, he's got a lot of people to cut off at the top.
Let's not get fanciful about this. Is he going to get rid of the operations part of the CIA, the part that does all these clandestine coups like the three of us would love for him to do?
Well, he won't get rid of that, but he'll just put it under the control of somebody that's going to be willing to follow presidential orders.
Okay.
That's the intent.
All right, switching gears, Ray, you recently sat down and read everything that President Putin said recently. I think most of it was about Ukraine. We're going to run a little clip of him, and then I want you to expand on it. It's a little bit difficult to understand the translator. So the word that Putin uses in the beginning is, if there is no neutrality. The way it comes out of the translator's mouth, or if it's AI, the computer's mouth, it's tough to follow, but we may play it twice if we have to. Chris, run cut number 2 twice, back to back.
If there is no neutrality, then it is difficult to imagine the existence of any good neighborly relations between Russia and Ukraine.
There is no neutrality, then it is difficult to imagine the existence of any good neighborly relations between Russia and Ukraine. Is that the heart of what you saw when you read that talk?
Sure, that simply means no NATO, no NATO membership. They had a deal back in March, April, actually, of 2002, which included that neutrality, ceasefire. It would deal with the other more thorny issues later. And as you know, the US and the UK sabotaged that deal. And Victoria Nuland, with a big smirk on her face, said, yeah, they asked for our advice and we discouraged them from stopping the war then. That was 6 weeks after the war started. Think of the carnage that has existed since then, not only with the Ukrainians, but with the Russian troops, young people dying because big people think they have to defeat another major power.
Larry, what will it take for the deep state in the State Department, in the foreign policy field, and the elites in Europe to understand that peace will only come in Ukraine when Ukraine is truly neutral? What will it take for them to understand it?
I guess when Putin opens a bag and throws Vladimir Zelensky's head on their desk, at that point they go, oh, I think this is over. I mean, it's going to take a military defeat of Ukraine. And with all the NATO allies pitching in, trying to help, they're going to go down with that ship. And, I wish there was a sign that they're coming to their senses. If it was up to Viktor Orban, yeah, there would be hope.
Right.
But between the likes of Keir Starmer and Macron, they're showing no sign of wanting to let up.
Larry, I'm going to give you a chance to say something nice about a neocon. Was Marco Rubio, whether he meant it or not, essentially correct? Does the State Department and do the elites in Europe acknowledge to themselves, but not publicly, that it's over?
Yeah, they have to. I can't imagine them being that stupid as to be able to ignore reality. But I've been surprised by people who pretended to be smart in the past and weren't.
Ray McGovern, take a listen to this. This is that character, Matt Miller, that's the spokesperson for the State Department.
Do I have to?
Telling us what Tony Blinken is up to now vis-a-vis Ukraine. It starts with a question, and you know what the answer is going to be. Cut number one, Chris.
Trump has been critical of Biden's assistance for Ukraine. Is it true, rushing billions of dollars to Ukraine before the transition?
Yeah, we've been quite open about that the money that was appropriated in the supplemental, that we intend to do everything in our power to get all that deployed to Ukraine before the end of the year. Before the end of the term.
There's a lot of money. It's into the billions that Congress has appropriated that hasn't made its way over there yet, Ray. And Joe Biden is going to try and put it into the pipeline for what? To bribe them to leave? To kill and slaughter more young Ukrainian men? Go ahead, take it from there.
Well, to blame it on Trump, I mean, let's face it, the thing is a disaster. Most of us are a little bit surprised that Putin hadn't gone still faster, and is just weeks away from hitting the Dnieper River. Putin is taking his time, and Biden is trying to make it seem like, well, wait a second, we gave them everything they needed. We gave them everything they needed. We stood by them as long as we could, and now we have this rogue regime coming in with Trump. Let me comment on a larger issue. You talked about, well, let me just say that the real issue here is there can be no security for any country without mutual security for all superpowers. John Kennedy said that in a wonderful speech of his at American University. And now it's become a real rule, because the whole business about Ukraine is the Russians say, we need security as well as you do. And so the golden rule, so to speak, has become an imperative. You have to treat others the way you would like them to treat you. And if you're a superpower, even Kennedy warned, okay? He said, look, the last thing we want to have happen is for one superpower, nuclear armed, to challenge another superpower to the point where the choice is between an embarrassing or a terrible retreat or using nuclear weapons. Now, Putin goes into that in this Valdai speech again. He spoke for about an hour. Some of the things he said were really pretty interesting. One of the things he said was, oh my God, the world has been so unpredictable over the 20 years, and now it's going to be still more predictable. So what's he saying? Well, you recall a year ago, he said, we favor predictability in the U.S. president, and that's why we favor sotto voce. That's why we favor, well, it's not sotto voce, so that's why we favor Biden. And now we favor Kamala. And, it was all tongue in cheek. But the point he was trying to make is even these guys are better than somebody unpredictable. At the same time, he's leaving the door open. He's saying, we're willing to talk. And we admire Trump for surviving that ear damage. And we admire his courage. And he's really been put through the test by this deep state there. Now, to that extent, Putin is not only playing on Trump's megalomania, happens to be true.
Transitioning to Israel, Larry, did the Israeli Air Force seriously degrade Iranian defenses? It's now 2 weeks ago, it was 2 Fridays ago, as Netanyahu claims, without evidence and without proof and without photos.
Yeah, I don't believe they did. But if they had, they would have been out showing the evidence much more clearly and celebrating it. I mean, that's their nature. They're the ones to be quiet about it. Iran's taking his time. Iran, we always in Hollywood portrays the radical Islamists, the Iranians, they'll classify them as radical Islamists, as very emotional, very illogical, not given to reason. I would argue it's actually just the opposite, that the Iranians are much more calculating, measured, and figuring out what it is that we want to do. They're really are more like chess players, because chess, as I recall, I think was invented in Iran or close to it.
Right.
Whereas the Israelis are the ones who are the emotional wild men. When you watch what Netanyahu did to Gallant over this past week, and then selecting Israel Katz to come in as defense minister, someone with really no significant military experience to justify that, but he is just a blind ideologue. So I think we will know the answer when Iran strikes back and then Israel tries to strike back against Iran. That if Israel easily penetrates Iranian air defense, then I guess they really did suppress it. But I really don't believe that, particularly since they were saying that they were destroying S-300s, when most of what Iran was fielding, I believe, was S-400, thanks to gifts that had come via the Russians.
Alistair Crook reports from his sources that the Israeli pilots were confounded by whatever the S-400 communicates to them. It was a system with which they were unfamiliar, and many of them turned around, and the second and third wave were canceled. Ray, go ahead.
No, I was going to say not only that, but the F-35 stealth fighter bombers, they were locked onto by some unknown radar.
Wow.
That, I feel sorry for Lockheed. How are they going to sell this thing anymore around the world?
With all the money that we spend, Ray, can the Russians have some system with which we are unfamiliar? Because whatever those Israeli fighter pilots were flying came from us, did it not?
That's right. Yeah. And they have pretty much state of the art. Alistair and others have said that the big surprise was that these F-35s were locked onto by some radar that they hadn't anticipated before. After all, they're stealth, right? They're stealth, so they don't get locked onto. Well, these were, okay? So I think Larry is quite right. Show me the photos. Show me the photos, Netanyahu. See how much damage you really have done.
Larry, on BB-Gate, it appears that these documents were forgeries. It appears that the documents were intended to mask the fact that it was Netanyahu himself who undermined the peace negotiations for reasons that we all understand, the ceasefire negotiations. Nevertheless, it was classified as top secret. When it was leaked to a German publication, Netanyahu's spokesperson was arrested. When he made an application for bail, two things happened. The judge looked at the documents, actually handed the documents to the judge on the bench, and he said, "Oh my God, this is serious damage." He thought they were real. Serious damage to Israeli national security. Second interesting thing, who was the lawyer in the courtroom standing next to this character?
Well, I
Bibi
don't.
Netanyahu's personal criminal defense lawyer representing this guy. The third interesting thing that happened was that bail was denied. He's still in jail.
Yeah, yeah. No, this was a clear example of how a president, prime minister, will use intelligence to manipulate public opinion and to try to create or perpetuate a narrative, and that's exactly what was done. And and the cynical part of it was there's zero interest on the part of Netanyahu in negotiating any kind of peace or ceasefire with the Palestinians, because his true purpose was to destroy them, to eradicate them, which is what the policy has been in fact. So, but this is really creating a division in Israel. Now, I think Netanyahu has still got the majority, at least in terms of public opinion. But that may be slipping, and the open talk that you could see, because he's also talking about replacing the heads of Mossad and Shin Bet.
Oh boy!
And Shin Bet's sort of the Israel's version of the FBI, Mossad's the version of the CIA, and if he goes after those people, then you could really see the possibility of a counter coup to remove him coming about, because while Gallant and Shin Bet and Mossad all share the vision of getting rid of the Palestinians, they also recognize that there are some limits to what Israel's military force can achieve.
Right.
And that Bibi is, man, he's making bets with people's lives that he's not going to be able to pay off.
Ray, is it likely that Mossad knew about this Bibi Gate, knew that these documents were false? Were forged?
You know, these intelligence services serve a bunch of masters. I'm pretty sure that Netanyahu selected those in Mossad that would do this for him. Whether the rest of Mossad or the head of Mossad know about this, I don't know. But this is a favorite tactic. It's a great arrow in the quiver of intelligence services to use these kind of forgeries to cause the effect that they wish to create.
Chris just reminded me that Bibi should not be surprised that this affair is called Bibi Gate. Apparently, he spent a week at the Watergate Hotel in Washington, D.C. in July. Now we know where the prime minister stays. The world. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for the double duty. As always, it's late in the day. It's pitch dark.
The Ansar Allah Army, as a part of the Yemeni armed forces, has reportedly shot down another USMQ-9 Reaper drone, this time over the skies of Al Jaf Governorate, northern Yemen. Footage circulated online on social media on Friday morning, showing burning debris falling from the sky and causing a large fire on the ground in the middle of the night, as people inspected the pile of debris of the unmanned aerial vehicle. Yemeni media reported that the aircraft was shot down by an air defense system, while the drone was conducting a reconnaissance operation in the area. Ansar Allah, often referred to as Houthis, said they were investigating the incident, but did not provide further details. Keep in mind Yemeni legendary fighters Ansar Allah have now shot down 10 of each of the U.S. reconnaissance and attack drones, worth $32 million since November 2023, or 13 if counting of the U.S. losses since 2017. The U.S. military acknowledged that it had seen the authenticity of the video circulating and said it was investigating the incident without providing further details. Military experts have previously confirmed that the Yemeni armed forces' ability to shoot down the highly sophisticated and expensive American MQ-9 Reaper drone has put Washington's military power in an embarrassing position. Yemen said it will continue to operate, take part in supporting Gazans and responding to the aggression of the United States and Britain on Yemeni cities.
Massive missile craters, long-range reach, clear message to the IDF. Recent reports indicate a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Lebanon. Just hours after Donald Trump secured victory in the US presidential election, a coordinated and devastating rocket assault launched by the Lebanese resistance struck key targets near Israel's largest airport, sparking fires in several settlements across the northern city of Haifa.
נפילה במתחם נתב"ג.
טוב, יאללה, כן, ביי.
חביבים, אוהבים.
Many analysts interpret this as a direct message to the newly elected American president, whose staunchly pro-Israel stance is anticipated to influence the region's future dynamics.
No president has done what I've done for Israel, and we've always had a very good relationship. And if I didn't, I have a secret weapon. You know what it is? Sarah, the city.
The attack has been described by experts as one of the most sophisticated operations ever executed by the Lebanese resistance. Demonstrating unprecedented precision, the assault marks a significant rise in tensions across an already volatile Middle East. Observers suggest this was not simply a military action, but a symbolic gesture aimed at challenging both Israel's regional campaigns and the United States' unwavering support of its ally, Israel, underscored by Trump's recent election win. The missiles, reportedly launched from concealed bunkers along Lebanon's southern border, appeared to include a new class of precision-guided weaponry, dubbed the Fateh 110, highlighting the Lebanese resistance's enhanced technological capabilities. Unlike the more rudimentary Katyusha rockets often associated with past attacks, these advanced missiles struck with remarkable accuracy, targeting critical infrastructure and civilian areas, notably in Haifa, where multiple fires were ignited. Reports indicate that the strikes disabled strategic assets near Israel's Negev Nuclear Research Center, a site of immense importance for Israeli security. As Israeli authorities scrambled to assess the damage, the devastating impact became evident. Tragically, an Israeli teenager was killed in the attack, with many others injured. The victim, found in Kfar Masarik near Acre, had suffered severe shrapnel wounds, a grim reminder of the human cost in such clashes. Israel's emergency services confirmed the discovery and reported that the injured were being treated in hospitals, with trauma rippling through the affected communities. In response, the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, launched retaliatory airstrikes in and around Beirut, targeting what it claimed were key Lebanese resistance sites. Official statements from the IDF referenced the destruction of military command centers and other strategic points near Beirut's airport. The resistance, however, swiftly denied these allegations, asserting that civilian areas had been targeted and condemning the strikes as indiscriminate and unlawful.
What are the steps of this plan via the war on Lebanon?
The group's leader, Naim Qassem, addressed the Lebanese public, expressing a resolve to continue resisting until Israeli military operations in Lebanon ceased. Qassem's speech took aim at Israel's military practices, rejecting the frequent Israeli claim that the Lebanese resistance hides behind civilian populations. He argued this narrative is often used to justify the targeting of civilian infrastructure, framing it as an attempt to demoralize the Lebanese people. Israel's aim is to break the will of Lebanon, Qassem declared, asserting that the resistance's actions were part of a long-prepared strategy to defend Lebanon's sovereignty.
There are three steps. The first, to end the existence of Hezbollah. The second, to occupy Lebanon, even from a distance, from the air, and by issuing threats and making Lebanon similar to the West Bank. Number three, striving to change the Middle East map. These steps Netanyahu wanted to take, and he started his war on Lebanon in order to achieve the first step. We, since 2006, after the July aggression, after Truthful Promise, we are preparing in all possible ways, training-wise, weapons-wise, quantity-wise, in the capabilities, at all levels, because we expect this result. We expected this result, which we've now reached. We expected the war to take place at a certain day. For this reason, we prepared ourselves. Now we are in a state of defense to confront this aggression and the
For many, the timing of the assault is significant, aligning closely with Trump's election. Analysts believe the resistance perceives Trump's pro-Israel stance as a signal of continued U.S. support for Israeli military actions, thus heightening the threat to Lebanon. During his first term, Trump frequently expressed vocal support for Israel's military campaigns, often endorsing its rationale for strikes against Palestinian and Lebanese factions. His re-election, therefore, has been viewed by some in Lebanon as a green light for further Israeli military operations, prompting the resistance to assert its opposition to what it considers a systemic international bias. As the conflict intensifies, so does the rhetorical clash. Israel maintains that the resistance's fighters operate within civilian areas to deter Israeli responses, although this justification has faced skepticism, with many recalling admissions from past conflicts that Lebanese forces utilize guerrilla tactics rather than hiding among civilians. Observers question whether Israel's current strikes, which have resulted in civilian casualties and infrastructure damage, genuinely aim at military targets or represent a campaign that disproportionately impacts non-combatants, mirroring tactics used in Gaza.
But mainly these are troops operating on the immediate border area. As you said, the deepest penetration is under 2 kilometers. As they try to probe in deeper, they're getting hit. They're walking into ambushes. They're running into the teeth of the Hezbollah defenses. And this is a war that Israel wasn't prepared to fight when, if there was no other diversions with a fresh army. But now they're bringing an army that's been worn down by more than a year's worth of fighting. That's exhausted physically. The logistics are screwed up because they don't have the spare parts required to sustain this effort. They're backing it up with a lot of airstrikes and everything. They use some cute tricks, assassinating leadership, blowing up pagers that caused momentary disruption. But as both Hezbollah and Iran have said, that whatever Israel accomplished with these trick plays, and I call them trick plays because I'd like to point out that, teams don't win championships with trick plays. You win championships with fundamentals. And the fundamentals of war is that Israel will not prevail in southern Lebanon. The Hezbollah has had 18 years to prepare for this very thing. Nothing Israel's doing is taking Hezbollah by surprise. Nothing. Hezbollah knows the kind of weapon systems Israel has. They know the effects. They've made preparations for this, and they're going to lure Israel in and kill them. Remember the tunnels that Hamas has. Hezbollah has been digging similar tunnels. The tunnels will be used when the time is right. Bring the Israelis in deep enough, cut them off, kill them, and you'll find that there's far more tunnels that reach deeper inside Israel than Israel knows. Israel, found a handful of them and are blowing them up and talking about them, but there's more. There's always more because they've had 18 years to prepare. You don't think in 18 years all they did is put out 3 tunnels that crossed into the, right across the border. No, they've put tunnels that go in deeper. And just take a look at the scope and scale of some of the tunnels that existed in Gaza that Israel has found. One of them, basically, you could drive a tank all the way up through right to the border. That's how big the tunnel was. I would imagine that Hezbollah has tunnels of that size all over the place. But the ground war is not going to go well for Israel here. They have an air war, but what they're doing in the air war is it's a repeat of Gaza. Now they're treating Beirut as an extension of Gaza. It's collective punishment, and it will just further alienate Israel from the international community. And here's the key. This is now we're getting into the defeat. Israel is going to be a lot like the United States in Vietnam. I mean, study the war in Vietnam. We won just about every tactical engagement there was. I mean, of course, there's a couple times, platoon overrun here, company overrun there. But generally speaking, when the Marines went out and hook and jab with the NVA, we won. We killed them. They withdrew, and then we withdrew from the hill that we just captured, and the NVA came back, and we had to go fight for that hill all over again. We had to fight for the valley all over again. That's the way, and that's what's happening to Israel and Gaza right now. They come in, they take a piece of terrain, they think they have it. They don't, because they don't know what's going on underneath. They withdraw, Hamas comes back, and you have to come back and fight for the same terrain all over again. It's the 4th or 5th time that Israel's given up this territory, and they pay a price in blood and equipment each time. And that's going to happen to them in Lebanon as well. Clausewitz wrote, "War is an extension of politics by other means." I mean, that's sort of a synopsis of a longer phrase. But what that means is that if we try to evaluate a conflict from military engagements alone, we're missing the big picture. This conflict Israel has set certain goals and objectives. For instance, with Hamas, Israel says that the goal is the physical destruction of Hamas as a resistance force, meaning that Israel want to make sure Hamas will never again be able to launch an attack like they did on October 7th. And the destruction of Hamas as a political force. That means that Hamas will not play any role in the governing of whatever Palestinian entity exists when this conflict is over. Israel has failed on both accounts. Hamas is powerful. Sinwar is the leader. He hasn't been killed. And the resistance fighters, are not only continuing the resistance, but they've recouped many of their losses. One of the things about bombing civilian populations, especially in a guerrilla type conflict, is for every terrorist you kill, you end up killing a whole bunch of innocent civilians, which means that you create new terrorists, new resistance fighters who come out. And Hamas has, I think, claimed that they've brought in 3,000 recruits during this time. And they say, well, what about training? Well, the resistance fighters in Gaza. Sinwar talks about children of the camp. These are all children of the camp. Every one of the fighters he has is a child of camp. What that means is that you were born and raised in Gaza. You know Gaza like the back of your hand. And that's the key. They know Gaza like the back of their hand. The Israelis don't. They're coming in. It's foreign territory. And they're never going to win. That's the same thing in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah spent 18 years preparing for this. They've walked every inch of that ground. They have everything pre-designated. They have their ambushes set up. And Israel is just going to walk into one trap after another trap after another trap. It'll go on forever.
The Lebanese resistance forces utilized the Fateh 110 missile in a recent attack on strategic sites in northern Israel. This development marks a significant shift in the technological and tactical landscape of the region, as the Fateh 110 is a high-precision, solid-fuel ballistic missile with a range that can cover much of northern Israel. This missile's deployment signals a new phase in the ongoing tensions, as the resistance now possesses weaponry capable of more accurate and impactful strikes than the crude rockets often associated with past attacks from Lebanon. The Fateh 110 missile, originally developed by Iran, is known for its precision capabilities, offering an accuracy radius of less than 10 meters. This accuracy, combined with its range and payload capacity, has shifted the power dynamics, posing a direct challenge to Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. While the Iron Dome has proven highly effective against short-range rockets, the Fateh 110's speed and precision make it a formidable challenge, complicating Israel's defensive strategies. Analysts believe the recent attack underscores the evolution of Lebanese resistance capabilities and raises questions about the broader strategic implications for Israel's security. The most recent strike is reported to have targeted military infrastructure and strategic sites, including fuel depots and logistical support centers near Haifa. Several fires and explosions followed the impact, forcing emergency crews into action as they sought to contain the destruction. The use of Fateh 110 missiles in these attacks suggests a shift in tactics from targeting broader civilian areas to focusing on critical military and strategic assets. This shift could represent a deliberate effort by the resistance to limit civilian casualties, while still delivering a powerful message to Israel. By targeting military sites, the Lebanese resistance is signaling its capacity to impact Israel's defensive readiness directly, while avoiding the international backlash that often accompanies civilian-targeted strikes. Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have not yet publicly confirmed the exact nature of the missile used, but military sources indicate that the severity and precision of the strike align with the capabilities of the Fateh 110. Israeli intelligence agencies have reportedly been aware of the resistance's access to this missile type, yet the actual deployment of these weapons in a combat scenario is unprecedented, raising immediate security concerns. The IDF has responded with airstrikes targeting what it claims are missile storage facilities and command centers in southern Lebanon, although the exact impact of these retaliatory strikes remains uncertain.
Schofield. Follow me.